At the wedding, suddenly, you are pulled into a firm embrace by the CEO bride, your sister-in-law. She turns her head toward your parents and says coldly, "The elder brother ran away from the wedding. Since the debt of the older must be paid by the younger, I'm taking the little one. From today on, this child belongs to me." Your parents are stunned at first, but then expressions of pure ecstasy break out on their faces. "No problem, no problem," your father nods frantically. "From now on, Jiba belongs to the Liu family to do with as you please." You watch your own biological parents sell you off like a piece of meat at a wet market. Surprisingly, you don't feel a shred of sadness. Instead, you find the scene quite farcical. Great, you think. Finally, I can escape this nauseating home. But you never imagined in your wildest dreams that the person buying you would be the legendary, quote, female devil, Liu Ruyan. Looking at her luxury outfit, you figure the food at the Liu house must be 1,000 times better than at the Ji house. Not to mention, you steal a glance at her long legs and think, being kept by a wealthy woman is much better than being a punching bag. Just then, 2 black-clad bodyguards step forward and lift you from your chair like they're picking up a little chick. Your feet instantly leave the ground and your fork clatters to the floor. Well, it'd look too fake if I didn't resist at all. You immediately kick your legs frantically, tears gushing out instantly as you scream, "Mom! Dad! I don't want to go!" Then, you turn to Liu Ruyan, reaching out a small hand and weeping like a rain-drenched pear blossom. "Big sister, I'm just a child. I don't taste good." Seeing your pitiful appearance, the fire in Liu Ruyan's heart seems to vanish instantly. She waves her hand impatiently and turns to leave, her skirt creating a cold arc. "Take him. Throw him in my car." The bodyguards immediately obey, carrying you toward the door. On the surface, you're wailing to the heavens, but inside, you're laughing coldly. "Liu Ruyan, oh Liu Ruyan, you brought this on yourself. Just wait until I grow up. I'll settle this debt with interest." You take one last look at that unfinished piece of Black Forest cake. Goodbye, cake. Hello, life as a rich family's live-in son-in-law. No, hostage. The next second you are roughly stuffed into a stretch Rolls Royce, and the door slams shut with a heavy thud. Liu Ruyan follows and sits inside. The air in the car freezes instantly. She takes off her glasses, looks at you shivering in the corner, and spits out a single word, "Come." Her voice carries an order that brooks no resistance. You have no choice but to pretend to tremble as you scoot over, stopping half a meter away. Liu Ruyan pats the seat beside her impatiently. Closer. You brace yourself and move, your body almost pressing against her wedding dress. Suddenly, a hand reaches out and grabs your chin, forcing you to look up. Your eyes meet. She stares at your tender little face and suddenly smiles, a smile like a hunter who has spotted their prey. "Jiba, right? From now on, you are my hostage. You will pay for everything your dear brother owes me." You blink your large eyes hard, making the tears on your lashes more prominent. "Sister, I don't have any money." Unexpectedly, Liu Ruyan raises an eyebrow, looks you up and down, and finally says, "No money? Then you'll pay with your body." Damn, what kind of predatory language is this, you think? "Sister, look closely, I'm only 10. This life is going to be an older woman, those legs, that silhouette, simply perfect." You give her a mental thumbs up. Her queen aura is dancing right on the edge of your preferences. Ji Bochang, oh Ji Bochang, you must be blind to reject a top-tier wealthy woman like this. On the surface, however, you shrink your neck back, your eyes filling with tears. "Sister, my legs are sore," you say in a tiny sobbing voice. Liu Ruyan sneers and walks straight to the main sofa. She crosses her legs elegantly, a heart-stopping silhouette that makes it impossible to look away. "Sore?" She taps her finger on the armrest and speaks coldly. "Ji Bochang ran away from the wedding. Have you thought about how sore my heart is? You're his brother. Stand straight." With that shout, you immediately stand straighter, your small frame tensed up. Seeing your submissive look, the anger in Liu Ruyan's heart eases slightly. She just wanted to give you a prestige check to make you understand whose territory this is. She wants you to know that in this house, you are a little slave with no rights. Starting tomorrow, wake up at 6 every morning. Liu Ruyan begins to announce her unequal treaties, and you take out a little notebook to record them, one by one. Target: Liu Ruyan. Bad woman. Future long-term meal ticket. Crimes: Pinching my face hurts. Suspected child abuse, making me stand as punishment. My legs are numb. Also, wearing seductive clothes to tempt a minor. Though I'm watching voluntarily, this must be recorded. Finally, she threw me in the storage room. After writing, you blow on the ink, a wicked smile curling at the corner of your mouth. Liu Ruyan, narrator. Just you wait. 30 years east of the river, 30 years west. Don't bully a youth for being poor. Sooner or later, I'll have you kneeling and calling me daddy. Fine, get lost and go to sleep. Liu Ruyan waves you off like a fly. She turns toward the stairs, her figure swaying gracefully. The wine-red silk clings to the curves of her waist and hips. A sight that makes your fake brat heart scream. You watch her disappear around the corner of the second floor before withdrawing your gaze. The obedient smile vanishes instantly, replaced by the calm of someone in total control of the room. You turn back to that tiny 10 square meter storage room, lock the door, and sit cross-legged on the hard bed. You close your eyes, and every image you saw while entering the villa flashes through your mind. An all-around prodigy with top-tier comprehension. At this moment, your brain is like a precision supercomputer. Every corner you passed, the location of every security camera, and the position of every servant is reconstructed into a 3D holographic map in your mind. The camera in the northeast corner of the living room is an old model. Its rotation blind spot is 1.5 seconds. The infrared sensor in the hallway is 1.2 meters high. I am currently 1.35 meters tall. I just need to bend over to avoid it. Uncle Liu patrols at 11 p.m. every night, then returns to the servants' quarters on the east side of the first floor. Liu Ruyan's bedroom is on the west side of the second floor. It has a balcony. If I'm not mistaken, the balcony door is a French window structure with almost zero security. You open your eyes, a sharp light flashing in your pupils. This is called a dimensional strike. Liu Ruyan thinks she brought back a soft, pinchable hostage. She has no idea she let a wolf into the house. If you wanted to, this villa would be a playground without walls. Growl. Your stomach protests again. You pat your flat belly and take a breath. No matter how high the IQ, a man's gotta eat. You glance at the wall clock. Midnight. The perfect time for arson. Or rather, stealing a midnight snack. You flip off the bed without even putting on shoes. Walking barefoot to avoid making noise, you tiptoe out. The hallway is pitch black, save for a few dim wall lamps. The entire villa is eerily quiet. Using the route you just calculated, you perfectly avoid the direct range of all cameras. If the Liu family's security chief saw this, he'd suspect his multi-million-dollar system was a budget knockoff. You successfully sneak into the kitchen. The Liu kitchen is larger than your old bedroom. A massive double-door fridge stands there like a treasure vault waiting to be favored. You rub your small hands and pull it open. Holy cow, your eyes go wide. What kind of divine ingredients are these? Evian mineral water is just there to take up space. It's packed with top-tier Wagyu beef, air-freighted, truffles, and caviar with unknown foreign labels. While complaining about the stink of the wealthy, you grab a carton of milk and 2 expensive-looking dinosaur egg plums. Whatever, eating is the priority. You don't dare use the stove, for fear the smell would attract Uncle Liu. But just as you insert the straw to enjoy this high-class midnight snack, a very faint groan comes from above. It's quiet, but in the dead of night, it's crystal clear. Your drinking pauses. Hallucination? It hurts. Another groan. This time it's clearer, carrying a visible tremble and suppressed pain that makes one's skin crawl. The sound is coming from the second floor. You look at the ceiling. Directly above the kitchen is Liu Ruyan's master bedroom. What's the situation? What is she doing up there? This sound isn't right. It doesn't sound like pleasure. It sounds like she's in genuine pain. Your mind spins. Narrator, Liu Ruyan, 24 years old, healthy. Aside from being a clean freak with a temper, I haven't heard of any hidden illnesses. Is it an assassination? Impossible. If someone broke in, the house full of bodyguards would have exploded. Is it a sudden illness? You bite the straw, falling into a dilemma. At a time like this, shouldn't a game-like menu pop up with 2 options for me to choose from to gain favorability points? According to the 3 rules, the second floor is forbidden. Going up means getting my legs broken. But if the person I'm staying with kicks the bucket, How will I keep my easy life? Whose legs will I cling to? Fortune favors the bold. If that bad woman is really sick, isn't this the best time to farm favorability and provide charcoal in the snow? You finish the milk in one gulp and toss the empty carton into the trash. Wiping your mouth, your gaze turns firm. If my legs get broken, so be it. If I don't enter hell, who will? Sister Liu, your brother is coming to save you. You creep out of the kitchen to the base of the stairs. Looking up at the spiral staircase, you take a deep breath and take the first step toward violating the house rules. The second floor is covered in thick carpet. It's silent. You follow the sound to the master bedroom door. It's slightly ajar, letting out a weak, warm light. The painful groans grow louder. You can hear Liu Ruyan trying her best to endure. Where is the medicine? Accompanied by that weak murmur, something is swept to the floor. Clang! You no longer hesitate. You reach out a small white hand and push open the heavy solid wood door. Sister, the scene inside makes your pupils shrink. In the dim room lit only by a bedside lamp, Liu Ruyan is curled up on the oversized bed. Her silk nightgown is soaked with sweat, clinging to her body and tracing heart-stopping curves. Her hands are tightly clutching her lower abdomen, her face is pale as paper, and her forehead is covered in cold sweat. She has bitten her lips so hard there are blood marks. Where is the female CEO with the massive aura? She looks like a porcelain doll about to shatter. Hearing the noise at the door, Liu Ruyan struggles to look up. Seeing you, a flash of bewilderment crosses her eyes, followed by a sense of shame at being intruded upon. Who told you to come up? She wants to yell, but her voice is as weak as a mosquito. You stand at the door, unmoving. You look at the way she's holding her stomach, then at the scattered painkillers on the floor. Menstrual cramps? No, cramps don't hurt this much. This looks like she's undergoing a divine trial. Wait, your nose twitches. Aside from her faint fragrance and the scent of sweat, there's a slight chill in the air. Not aircon cold, but a deep, bone-chilling cold. There's something wrong with this woman's constitution. Looking at the woman dying of pain on the bed, you suddenly close the grudge notebook in your heart. You run over on your short legs. Stop acting tough. Save your strength. Instead of leaving, you actually climb onto the bed. Liu Ruyan tries to push you away, but her hand is limp and powerless. Instead, you grab her wrist. Shh. You put a finger to your lips. Your clear, innocent eyes hold a calmness that makes it impossible to resist. Don't move. I'll rub it for you. With that, your warm little hand is placed, without any hesitation, directly onto Liu Ruyan's cold, flat lower abdomen. The next second, Liu Ruyan shudders as if struck by an electric current. Her instinct is to kick you off the bed, but immediately, a warm current flows from your palm into her frozen, aching abdomen. It's so warm, like being given a freshly filled hot water bottle in the middle of a harsh winter. The cold and pain that were churning inside are miraculously suppressed. Liu Ruyan's tense body instantly softens by half. A muffled, high-pitched moan escaped her. The sound was so alluring that Liu Ruyan wished she could find a hole to crawl into. You sit kneeling on the bed, your doll-like face full of seriousness. But you know exactly how thrilling the scene is. Her waist is so thin you could nearly encircle it with 2 hands. And this skin, is this the texture of gold-plated maintenance? While mentally critiquing and praising her, you activate your high-level comprehension brain. In that instant, memories of a traditional Chinese medicine TCM wellness program you saw on the Ji family's old TV flash through your mind. You had only glanced at it, but now those acupoint maps and techniques become high-definition 3D projections in your head. Guan Yuan Point, Qi Hai Point, Zhongji Point. The cold is stagnated. Severe, womb cold, plus hormonal imbalance from staying up late. This body looks glamorous on the outside, but it's a wreck inside. You curl your lip. Your hands don't stop. You apply slight pressure with your thumb 3 inches below the navel and begin to rub clockwise. This isn't just a massage. It's the Jai-style rejuvenation technique, developed on the spot by combining ergonomics, thermal conduction, and half-baked TCM. Hiss! Liu Ruyan gasps. Her toes curl as she grips the bedsheets, but within the pain is a strange, indescribable relief. As you rub, The warmth begins to spread to her limbs. That heavy, bloated feeling that tortured her every period for years is actually fading bit by bit. You? What kind of technique is this? Liu Ruyan finally finds her voice, though it's still trembling and soft, lacking any intimidation. You don't look up. Still focused on the construction project in your hands, you lie casually. Old Grandma Wang next door taught me. It's for stomach aches. You can't exactly say you're a genius who learns everything at a glance. That would lead to being dissected for research. Besides, sister, your stomach is so cold, like ice. You look up, your large eyes full of innocence and worry. You can't eat ice cream anymore, or you won't be able to have babies. Liu Ruyan's face turns red. What the hell, won't be able to have babies? What does this kid know? She wants to scold you, but notices a layer of fine sweat on your forehead. To keep your palms warm, you have been secretly using friction to generate heat. It's quite a physical task. Looking at this little guy, whom she had just thrown into a storage room, but who is now sweating to relieve her pain, Liu Ruyan's hardened heart softens uncontrollably once more. That feeling of being carefully nurtured. It's been too long. It's 10,000 times better than Jibo Kang, who only ever told her to drink hot water. Duplicate segment removed for flow. Duplicate segment removed for flow. Favorability +5. Current favorability 45. Even without a system prompt, you keenly sense the muscles in Liu Ruyan's abdomen beginning to relax. This is the signal that her guard is down. After about 10 minutes, you feel like your palms are about to be rubbed raw, so you stop. Phew! You let out an exaggeratedly long breath. You plop down on the bed and shake your aching wrists. Sister, does it still hurt, you ask? Liu Ruyan checks. The piercing, twisting pain is gone, leaving only a faint discomfort. She sits up, awkwardly pulling down the hem of her nightgown. Recalling that intimate contact, her shame meter explodes. She actually let her enemy's brother, whom she'd known for less than half a day, rub her stomach, and she even made that sound. Her cheeks flush. To cover the embarrassment, she quickly puts on a cold face again. It was mediocre. The technique was crude, but it managed to stop the pain. Since you were somewhat sensible, I'll allow you to sleep on the floor by the door tonight. You roll your eyes internally. Ha! You were enjoying it so much your toes were digging into the floor, yet your mouth is still this stubborn. Is your mouth the hardest part of your body? Just then, a loud gurgle breaks the cold atmosphere. The sound comes from Liu Ruyan's stomach. Very loud. A protest of extreme hunger. The room freezes. Liu Ruyan's exquisite, cold face turns red from her neck to her ears. Absolute social death. The president of the Liu group, the female devil of the capital, had her stomach growl in front of you. This felt worse than being killed. Liu Ruyan grits her teeth, trying to save face. I'm not hungry. This is just normal gastrointestinal peristalsis. Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. This time it was louder and had a trill at the end. You almost burst out laughing. But you are a professional actor. You immediately swap to a look that says, I didn't hear anything, and hop off the bed. Sister, I saw rice in the kitchen when I came up. I'm so hungry. I want to go cook some porridge. Sister, do you want some? Just to help me taste if it's too salty. This is offering her a ladder. As long as the ladder is positioned correctly, no, Sundar can resist coming down. Liu Ruyan breathes a sigh of relief, looking out the window shiftily. Since you insist on making it, I'll reluctantly help you try some, but I have very picky tastes. If it's bad, you're dead. Got it. Wait here, sister. You trot out. As the door closes, Liu Ruyan collapses onto the bed, burying her face in the pillow with a groan. Liu Ruyan, oh Liu Ruyan, your persona is completely ruined today. In the first floor kitchen, you stand on a small stool at the counter, looking at the pile of top-tier ingredients. A wicked smile hooks your lip. Want porridge? Fine. Master G will show you his skills today. To catch a woman's heart, first catch her stomach. It's a cliché, but it's the truth. Your brain spins again. Top-tier culinary logic loading. You take a bag of imported organic millet from the fridge, find some premium red dates, and a piece of meat that looks... Logical steps. When to stir, when to turn down the heat. Every step is calculated. You even measure the water-to-rice ratio to 2 decimal places. This isn't cooking, it's a chemistry experiment. Half an hour later, a rich aroma of rice mixed with the sweetness of red dates wafts up the stairs and fills the villa. That scent, the primitive temptation of carbohydrates, is enough to trigger the deepest human cravings for food. You serve a small bowl, specifically garnishing it with dried osmanthus. Appearance, 10 out of 10. Taste, 10 out of 10. Aside from making your hands tired, it's perfect. Carrying the tray, you carefully go to the second floor and push open the master bedroom door. Liu Ruyan is sitting against the headboard, holding a book, though she hasn't turned a page in ages. Her eyes keep darting toward the door. When she sees you enter, her dull eyes brighten for a moment before she quickly reins it in. So slow. Liu Ruyan frowns with feigned disgust. Did you go out and grow the rice yourself? You aren't annoyed. You placed the tray on the nightstand. Because I had to simmer it until the rice oil came out, that's what's good for the stomach. You pick up the bowl, stir it with a spoon, blow on it, and hold it to her lips. Sister, open up! Liu Ruyan is stunned. She looks at the spoon in her mouth, her brow furrowed. I have hands, I can eat it myself. She reaches for the bowl, but you pull it back. You hold out your small hands to her. There's a visible redness and swelling on your white palms. It's from the friction you used earlier to heat her stomach. Sister, I can't hold the bowl steadily. You blink pitifully. What if I spill it on your expensive sheets? Just let me feed you, okay? This combo of a pity play and moral kidnapping completely blocks Liu Ruyan's retreat. Looking at your red little hands, a sense of guilt rises in her. This kid got like this just to stop her pain. If she refuses again, wouldn't she be too heartless? Just this once, Liu Ruyan snorts. Never again. She awkwardly opens her mouth, and you immediately slide the spoon in. It melts in her mouth. In that instant, Liu Ruyan's pupils dilate. Is this porridge? This is too delicious. The millet is simmered until soft and blooming, the rice oil is thick and smooth, and the sweetness of the brown sugar blends perfectly with the aroma of the dates. It's not cloying, but carries a warm, lingering sweet aftertaste. One mouthful warms her from her throat to her stomach. Her uncomfortable stomach is instantly soothed. The law of true fragrance, late but inevitable. Seeing her eyes light up, you are overjoyed. How is it, sister? Is it bad? You ask knowingly. Liu Ruyan swallows the porridge, trying to maintain her composure. It's just okay. Barely edible. Since you made too much, on the principle of not wasting food, give me another bite. While her mouth says barely. Her body is honest. 1 bite, 2 bites, 3 bites. In less than 5 minutes, the bowl is empty. Liu Ruyan even licks her lips with a hint of wanting more. That internal sense of satisfaction makes her whole body relax. Drowsiness follows. After a night of chaos, running away from a wedding and stomach pain, she is exhausted. Now that her stomach is warm and the pain is gone, her eyelids begin to droop. Fine, take the bowl away. Liu Ruyan yawns, her voice lazy like a well-fed cat. I'm going to sleep. Get out. Kicking me out already? Talk about being used and discarded. You look at Liu Ruyan, who has already slid under the covers and closed her eyes. Another page turns in your little notebook. Additional crime. Ate my heart-made porridge without even a thank you. Slept immediately after eating, treating me like a tool. You pick up the empty bowl but don't leave immediately. You stand by the bed, looking at Liu Ruyan's defenseless sleeping face. Without the cold disguise, she looks much softer. Her long lashes cast shadows on her cheeks, and her red lips are slightly pouted. She actually looks cute. You trace her silhouette in the air with your finger. Sister, this bowl of porridge wasn't cheap. Everything free now is interest to be paid back double later. You murmur in a voice only you can hear. Then, you thoughtfully tuck in the corners of her quilt, even tucking back in a foot she had left outside. Only then do you take the tray and quietly retreat. The moment the door closes, the obedient look vanishes. You stand in the dim light of the hallway and glance at the study at the end. That is the core of the Liu family, and the fortress you will conquer next. But no rush. Tonight's results have already exceeded expectations. You pat your own stomach? You were so busy feeding that bad woman you haven't eaten yourself. You go back to the kitchen, scrape the bottom of the pot, finish the last bit of porridge in 3 gulps, and return to your cramped storage room. That night, Liu Ruyan had her most peaceful sleep in years. Meanwhile, you, on that hardboard bed, had a dream. In the dream, Liu Ruyan was kneeling on the floor in a maid outfit, massaging your shoulders and calling you Master. Is the pressure okay? Next morning, sunlight shines through the tiny window onto your face. You wake up groggily. Before you can even stretch, a rapid pounding sounds on the door. Bam, bam, bam! You can feel the person's rage even through the wood. Jiba, get out here. It's Liu Ruyan's voice, and she sounds furious. You jump up. Crap, what happened? Didn't I succeed last night? Why is she exploding again? Did I talk in my sleep and accidentally yell, Master? You quickly dress and open the door. Outside, Liu Ruyan is in a white tracksuit, her hair in a high ponytail. Vibrant, but her beautiful face is covered in frost. She's holding something. Suddenly, a slip of paper is thrust in front of your face. What is this? You look closely. It's a note, a page torn from your grudge notebook from last night. It clearly reads, Crime 3, wearing seductive clothes to tempt a minor. Note, Liu Ruyan, we have a long time ahead of us. When I grow up, this storage room will be part of our play. Boom. You feel like you've been struck by lightning. How did she get this? I was so tired last night. Did it fall out of my bag? I'm done for. This time I'm really going to jail. Liu Ruyan grits her teeth, her eyes practically spitting fire. She reads the last part, word by word. Part of our play? Jiba, can you explain to me? Is this play the wholesome kind? The air freezes for 3 seconds as the evidence dangles under your nose. Liu Ruyan looks down at you, her gaze colder than a dead fish. That dissecting look makes your spine tingle. I was careless. I didn't dodge. How did this stupid notebook fall out? This is social death. My reputation. My pure brat persona. Your brain's CPU is hitting 80 degrees. If I admit I'm a creep now, I'll die before I even start. I have to stay low. You take a breath, and your shocked expression instantly switches. It turns into a look like you're staring at an idiot. You tilt your head, blinking your large eyes innocently. Sister, why is your face red? Liu Ruyan is caught off guard by the direct question. She subconsciously touches her cheek. Who? Who's blushing? Cut the crap. Explain. What is storage room play? Play just means playing games, you say righteously, with a hint of contempt for her illiteracy. The English teacher taught us. Play game. Looking at your face, you must have imagined something inappropriate for children, huh? Tisk, your mind is so complicated. Seeing her face turn between red and white, the little person in your heart is dancing the samba. Shut up! Liu Ruyan snaps in embarrassment, crumpling the note and throwing it accurately into the trash. She feels like she's been led into a ditch by this kid, actually discussing colored topics with an elementary schooler. Don't watch those messy TV shows anymore. If I see this again, I'll burn that notebook. Liu Ruyan forcibly ends the topic. To hide her awkwardness, she crosses her arms like a cruel capitalist. And what time is it? Didn't I say I like peace and quiet? Were you sleeping or hibernating? Get down there and cook. You're stunned. Huh? Cook? I'm a hostage. Hostages have to work? If you don't cook, I'll throw you out to the wolves. Liu Ruyan glares. That porridge last night was barely edible. Today I want scallion oil noodles. If it's not ready in 10 minutes, you can expect broken legs. She turns and leaves, her ponytail swaying sharply, though her steps look a bit like she's fleeing. You watch her back, a successful wicked smile hooking your lip. If you want my cooking, just say so. Feeding the wolves? I think you're the hungry wolf. 10 minutes later, in the first floor dining room. Liu Ruyan is in the main seat, holding a tablet as if looking at reports, but her eyes keep darting to the kitchen. That porridge last night, it kept the nightmares away. She woke up this morning with an empty stomach. Her desire for food actually overcame her morning grumpiness. Soon you walk out on your short legs, carrying a celadon bowl larger than your face. Liu Ruyan's expression freezes. As the bowl is set down, an aggressive aroma explodes. The charred scent of scallions hit with high heat, mixed with the savory sweetness of soy sauce, topped with a layer of crispy, golden-fried scallion bits. Liu Ruyan swallows. Did this kid go to a culinary school before the G family went bust? Sister, please enjoy. You obediently hand over the chopsticks and stand to the side with your hands behind your back. Liu Ruyan takes them and reservedly lifts a mouthful. The moment it enters her mouth, her taste buds explode like fireworks. The scallion aroma hits her brain. The noodles are chewy and springy, and the sauce ratio is perfect. Salty, sweet, and savory, dancing on her tongue. Having lived on quick meals while fighting business wars, this street-style comfort food instantly pierces her defenses. She only intended to have a taste to maintain her cold CEO persona, but her chopsticks won't stop. Standing there, watching her eat without any grace, another page turns in your mental notebook. Crime, eating like a starving ghost who hasn't eaten in 3 days. Note, it seems this woman's stomach is in my grip. Can taking her down be far off? In less than 5 minutes, the large bowl is polished clean. She sets down the chopsticks and elegantly wipes her mouth with a tissue, only then realizing her loss of composure. She looks up to see you blinking at her expectantly. Sister, was it good? Liu Ruyan's face heats up. Her cloud-scattering eating style was definitely seen by this kid. She clears her throat and returns to her annoying expression. It was okay. The noodles were a bit too hard. The scallions were slightly over-fried, and the soy sauce made it a bit salty. Barely edible. You almost laugh in frustration. Barely edible? Sister, you licked the bottom of the bowl. You have the nerve to say that? Your mouth is truly the hardest part of you. Fine, let's see how long you can pretend. You don't expose her. Instead, you lower your head with a hurt look. I'm sorry, sister. I'll do better next time. There's a little left in the pot. Should I throw it away? Throw it away? Her voice spikes, then she catches herself. Wasting food is shameful. Though it's bad, since I'm your sister, I'll have to endure this. Suffering. Myself. She pushes the bowl forward and commands righteously, go get another bowl. I'm not full. Wow, you think. Not only is her mouth hard, she's shameless. Making gluttony sound so noble, capitalists really are vampires. You trot to the kitchen for another bowl. After she finishes the second one with satisfaction, she slumps in her chair, unwilling to move. She watches you cleaning the dishes, her gaze turning complex. This kid, not only is he good-looking, he can massage and cook. Using him as a mere servant seems like a waste of talent. Besides, with the G family bankrupt, he can't even go to school. Suddenly, she speaks, Jiba, huh? You turn around, dishcloth in hand. Since you like cooking so much, breakfast and dinner in this house are your responsibility from now on. Liu Ruyan stands up, smoothing her clothes to regain her resolute CEO aura. In exchange, I'll arrange for you to go to school. Even if you're a hostage, the Liu family doesn't keep illiterates. Your eyes light up. School? That's a good thing. Not because I love studying, but because the St. Elliston Academy is the biggest gold melting pot in the city. The perfect stage for me to stir up trouble. Thank you, sister. You're the best, you shout. You toss the cloth and rush over to hug her leg. Liu Ruyan steps back with disgust, pressing a finger to your forehead. Don't get grease on me, and don't get happy too soon. A playful smile hooks her lip. It's a fully enclosed elite school. The students there aren't very friendly, especially to a fallen young master like you. If they bully you until you cry, don't expect me to wipe your nose. With that, she grabs her keys and walks away in her high heels, leaving you with a proud silhouette. You stand there, wiping the water from your hands. Your harmless brat face breaks into a smile that would terrify an adult. Bullied? Sister, you might not know, but in this world, I'm the only one who bullies others. Campus bullying? That's my specialty. Are you little greenhouse flowers ready to meet your nightmare? You hum a tune and go back to washing dishes, planning ahead. Since I'm going to school, looks like I need some new props. The peace dividend brought by that bowl of scallion oil noodles arrived even faster than you expected. You had just polished the last plate to a mirror shine when Uncle Fu, the villa's butler, walked in with steady steps. Yesterday, the old man looked at you like you were a bag of non-recyclable trash. Today, his attitude has performed a complete 180-degree drift. Uncle Fu's waist bent to a 45-degree angle, his wrinkles blooming like a flower from his smile. He said, "Little master, how can we let you do such coarse work as washing dishes? Put it down, quickly, put it down." You tossed the dishcloth aside and played dumb, acting ashamed. You said, Uncle Fu, sister said if I don't work, she'll throw me out to feed the wolves. Oh, my little ancestor, the eldest miss was just joking with you. Uncle Fu quickly handed you a hot towel to wipe your hands. He added, the eldest miss ordered it. The storage room is too damp and gloomy. If you catch a cold, there'll be no one to cover her with. You were overjoyed inside. You thought, she's already feeling protective. She clearly craves my cooking but insists on finding a high-sounding excuse. Is this the pinnacle of being a tsundere? Lesson learned. Uncle Fu led you to the 3rd floor. He said, from now on you'll stay in this guest room. As the door opened, you thought, is this a guest room? This is practically the presidential suite of a 5-star hotel. Floor-to-ceiling windows took up almost an entire wall, with sunlight pouring in like it was free. The bed was so large you could roll around on it, looking so soft you'd sink right in. You didn't stand on ceremony. You kicked off your shoes and dove straight onto it, the mattress bouncing you twice. Uncle Fu stood at the door, smiling. He said, little master, there are new pajamas in the closet. Though they weren't custom-made for you, they're all big brands. Rest for now. If you need anything, just press the bell by the headboard. You rolled around on the bed a few times, wrapping yourself in the quilt until only your head poked out. You pulled that crumpled grudge notebook from your pocket and grabbed a gold pen from the nightstand. Flipping to a new page, the pen tip danced across the paper, leaving behind a line of crooked characters. Target, Liu Ruyan, the one who says one thing but means another. Event, using a luxury sea view room, though there's no sea, to win my heart. Evaluation, her mouth is stubborn, but her actions are reliable. I'll accept this sugar-coated bullet. Result, yesterday's hatred value -1. Note, for the sake of this soft mattress, I won't call her a dead tsundere in my heart tonight. After writing, you closed the notebook with satisfaction and even kissed the cover. You thought, this is my scripture for getting rich. You imagined. When Liu Ruyan falls head over heels in love with me later, these will be the debts of the heart she'll have to pay back with interest. In the back garden of the Yulongbei villa, you moved a lounge chair, put on a pair of sunglasses you found somewhere, and held a glass of fresh squeezed orange juice while crossing your legs in the sun. You thought, this is the life. I wouldn't trade this for being an immortal. You were still wearing yesterday's faded cheap t-shirt and shorts, looking completely out of place in the luxurious European-style courtyard. But that didn't stop you from treating the place like your own backyard. Uncle Fu stood nearby with a large palm leaf fan. Instead of finding it awkward, he found you more likable the more he looked at you. Uncle Fu thought, he's handsome, has a sweet tongue, and is a great cook. Most importantly, he can handle the eldest Mrs. fiery temper. This isn't a hostage for debt. This is a lucky mascot for the Liu family. Just as you were shaking your leg and humming a tune, the clicking of high heels on the ground reached you. You pulled your sunglasses down a bit, revealing 2 shifty, large eyes. Liu Ruyan had changed into professional attire. A well-tailored black suit jacket that accentuated her slender waist with a silk white shirt underneath. The collar was slightly open, revealing a dazzling sliver of white. Most devastatingly, the pencil skirt she wore was just the right length, hugging the curves of her hips. Beneath the hem was a pair of top-tier legs wrapped tightly in black stockings, exuding a mysterious sense of forbidden temptation. You screamed internally, is this the legendary Office Empress skin? You felt your nose starting to get warm. You scolded yourself. I am a sinner. I actually wanted to tear those stockings just now. You told yourself, no. I am a 10-year-old child. I must be pure. I must be innocent. Liu Ruyan walked to the garage door, preparing to get into the limited edition Rolls-Royce Phantom. Out of the corner of her eye, she spotted you lying in the garden like a little lord. Her brow furrowed instantly, especially when she saw your t-shirt with the stretched collar and those pitifully short pants. She thought, what an eyesore. If outsiders see this, they'll think the Liu family has gone bankrupt and can't even afford to raise a child. Liu Ruyan spoke coldly, her voice carrying unquestionable authority. Uncle Fu. Uncle Fu immediately put down the fan and trotted over. Eldest Miss, you called? Liu Ruyan extended a finger, pointing at you in the distance with disgust. she said. Take him out today and replace those rags he's wearing. She continued, buy several decent outfits. School uniforms, casual wear, pajamas, all the best. Don't let him wander around the house dressed like that. People will think I'm abusing child labor. Uncle Fu nodded repeatedly. Yes, yes. I'll arrange for a tailor to come by right away. No need for a tailor, Liu Ruyan interrupted, pulling a black gold supplementary card from her bag and handing it to Uncle Fu between two fingers. Take him directly to the mall to buy ready-to-wear. Members of the Liu family shouldn't look shabby in public. It's my face on the line. She then turned to look at you, just as you were staring longingly at the card. Their eyes met. Liu Ruyan snorted and said, What are you looking at? That's for Uncle Fu to swipe. You don't get a share. And don't think you can be lawless just because you changed rooms. If I don't see a full feast on the table when I get back tonight. She paused deliberately, her eyes scanning your small frame, and added meaningfully, I'll take your meat and feed it to the dogs. Thud. The car door closed, and the Rolls-Royce let out a low roar as it sped away, leaving only a faint scent of high-end perfume in the air. You jumped off the lounge chair and trotted to Uncle Fu, staring at that black gold card. You felt as if the words, spend as you wish, were written all over it. Uncle Fu, Uncle Fu! You hugged Uncle Fu's arm and looked up, your eyes full of money signs. Did Sister tell you to take me shopping? Uncle Fu's face wrinkled with laughter. Yes, little master. The eldest miss has a sharp tongue but a soft heart. She's afraid you'll be looked down upon at school. You grinned. You thought, afraid I'll be looked down upon? She just wants to dress me up like a doll to show off. This woman has quite the control streak, but since she gave me the card, you took the black card and kissed it. You said to Uncle Fu, let's go, Uncle Fu. Today, we're emptying the mall. You thought, anyway, it's that bad woman's card. I don't mind. This easy life is delicious. You stuffed the card into your pocket and walked toward the garage with an arrogant, don't mess with me gait. You thought, since I'm going to that noble academy as a transfer student, my equipment must be top-notch. You added, Step 1. Package myself as a top-tier, second-generation heir that people can't afford to associate with. As for Liu Ruyan paying the bill, redundant paragraph removed. It feels great. The major shopping malls of Jinhai City experienced a minor earthquake today. You were truly ruthless when swiping Liu Ruyan's card. From Armani junior wear to expensive independent designer brands, if it looked good, you took it. Uncle Fu followed behind, his hands full of bags, his old face smiling so hard his eyes were squeezed shut. Uncle Fu thought, this isn't just buying clothes for a child. I'm seeing the future hope of the Liu family in this little ancestor. With this face, if he debuted right now, he'd crush all the little idols. Back at the villa, you changed into a precision-tailored little suit, a red bow tie at your collar, and even had a stylist fix your hair. You stood before the mirror and couldn't help but marvel. This is too handsome. Even that, dead tsundere, Liu Ruyan will probably have to struggle to stay calm while secretly drooling. You blew a kiss to the mirror and tucked your Liu family survival rules notebook into your inner pocket. Uncle Fu went to settle the hall, leaving you to wander the massive villa alone. You thought, this place is ridiculously big, like a maze. Although your current status was Liu family son-in-law candidate / hostage, in some people's eyes, you were probably lower than the Rottweiler guarding the gate. For example, the person blocking you right now, a middle-aged woman in a maid uniform leaning against the kitchen door frame, spitting sunflower seed shells everywhere. Her triangular eyes looked at you with spiteful written all over her face. You patted your stomach. You were so busy trying on clothes, you were hungry now. You trotted over on your short legs to find something to eat. Hey, what are you doing? Auntie Wang spat out a shell and blocked the way. Is this a place you can just enter? Do you know the rules? You stopped, looking up with an innocent face. Auntie Wang, I'm hungry. I want to find some snacks. Snacks? Auntie Wang laughed as if she'd heard a joke. HMPH, aren't you the little master of the G family? Still think you're the rich boy who gets fed without lifting a finger? She looked your new clothes up and down, her eyes overflowing with jealousy. She thought, dressed like a human, but who knows what the eldest miss was thinking, spending so much money on an ungrateful wolf. Auntie Wang snorted mockingly. The bird's nest and imported fruit in the kitchen are for the eldest miss. Don't even think about it. You weren't angry. Getting mad at an NPC is a waste of your CPU. You tilted your head and said innocently, "Then is there anything I can eat?" Auntie Wang turned into the kitchen and returned shortly after, throwing a broken bowl with a chipped edge at your feet. In the bowl were 2 hard crusts of bread and half an apple that had been sitting out so long the surface was oxidized and yellow. Auntie Wang said, "There, eat. This is my gift to you." She brushed the dust off her hands and looked down at you. "In our Liu house, you follow Liu rules. The eldest miss was kind enough not to throw you out, and you really think you're a master?" Looking at the broken bowl, the little person in your heart burst out laughing. "Wow, a perfect opportunity delivered right to my door. You thought, I was just worrying about having no material to farm favorability with Liu Ruyan, and here comes someone to provide it. This isn't a maid, this is a villainous supporting female sent by the heavens to help me level up." You didn't lose your temper or kick the bowl. Instead, you crouched down and picked up the broken bowl obediently, even giving Auntie Wang a sweet smile. "Thank you, Auntie Wang." Auntie Wang was stunned. She thought, "Is this kid an idiot? I give him trash and he says thank you." She snorted triumphantly. "At least you know your place." She went back to her seeds, completely missing the craftiness flashing in your eyes. You looked at the clock. 5:40 p.m. Based on your grasp of Liu Ruyan's schedule, the female boss would arrive on the battlefield in 5 minutes. You thought, I must set the stage. You didn't go back to your room. Instead, you carried the broken bowl to the stairs connecting the living room and the entrance. The spot was chosen perfectly. Someone entering the front door would see you at a glance, but it wouldn't look too forced. There was no carpet here. You sat on the cold marble steps, instantly creating a tragic atmosphere. You held the hard bread but didn't eat it. Instead, you lowered your head, picking at the breadcrumbs with your finger. Your small, hunched silhouette was heartbreaking to look at. 5 minutes later, the front door let out the beep-beep of the fingerprint lock, followed by the crisp sound of high heels on marble. Liu Ruyan walked in, her head throbbing from multinational meetings. Those old antiques on the board had been looking for trouble, making her want to flip the table. As soon as she entered, she tossed her Hermes Birkin onto the sofa and reached up to unbutton her collar. Suddenly, her movements stopped. Her gaze fell on that tiny figure by the stairs. You, the one she'd spent a fortune to dress like a little prince, were now huddled on the steps. You were staring blankly at a piece of moldy bread in a broken bowl. Hearing the door, you jerked your head up. Seeing it was Liu Ruyan, you frantically tried to hide the bread behind your back, rubbing your small hands nervously on your clothes. Sister, you're back." Your voice was as faint as a mosquito's, with a hint of a tremble. Liu Ruyan's brow knitted into a deep frown. She strode over, her long legs moving quickly. "What are you holding?" Her voice was as cold as a Siberian current. You shook your head like a rattle. Nothing. I'm not hungry. Not at all." Liu Ruyan didn't listen to your nonsense. She grabbed your wrist and forced your hand out from behind your back. The bread crust, hard enough to kill someone, and the chipped broken bowl were exposed to her sight. In that instant, Liu Ruyan felt her blood pressure skyrocket. She thought, "This is a slap in my face. Everyone in Jinhai knows Jiba is my person now," she added. "Even if he's a hostage, he's private property under the Liu name. Letting my fiancé eat something even a dog wouldn't touch? If word gets out, how can I show my face in my circles? Who did this?" Her voice wasn't loud, but every word felt squeezed through her teeth, carrying a terrifying aura. You shrunk your neck, glancing inadvertently toward the kitchen before quickly looking down. "Don't be mad, sister," Auntie Wang said. "This is all that's left. The bird's nest is for you. I don't deserve it." Those 3 implied words were the final spark to the powder keg. "Auntie Wang!" Liu Ruyan roared, her voice echoing through the hall. Auntie Wang, who was secretly eating bird's nest in the kitchen, dropped her spoon. She ran out in a panic, a bit of sugar syrup still on her lip. Eldest miss, you're back." Auntie Wang had a fawning smile. Liu Ruyan didn't even look at her, she just kicked the broken bowl by your feet. Crash! Porcelain shards flew everywhere. The rotten half-apple rolled to Auntie Wang's feet. "Explain." Liu Ruyan pointed at the trash, her gaze sharper than a blade. Auntie Wang's legs turned to jelly. Eldest miss, it's just some leftovers." "I thought the child shouldn't waste food." Leftovers? Liu Ruyan sneered, walking up to her. I spent millions on his clothes just to have him crouch on the floor and eat your leftovers? He is my person. Only I can bully him. Who do you think you are? Hiding behind Liu Ruyan, you watched the usually arrogant Auntie Wang trembling like a drowned dog. You were thrilled inside. You reached out and quietly tugged on Liu Ruyan's clothes, pressing your face against the side of her leg. Feeling the warmth from below, her body stiffened, but she didn't push you away. She turned to Uncle Fu and said, Uncle Fu, settle her wages and get her out. A complete and total ban. Auntie Wang collapsed, crying and begging for mercy. Eldest Miss, I was wrong. For the sake of my years of service to the Liu family. Drag her out! Liu Ruyan didn't even bother looking at her. 2 bodyguards immediately stepped forward and hauled her out like a dead weight. Liu Ruyan took a deep breath to calm down. She looked down at you, still clutching her leg. You were looking up with watery, large eyes full of admiration and gratitude. You said softly, Sister, you're so amazing. Your voice had a slight nasal quality. I was so scared just now. I thought I was going to be hungry today. Looking at you, Liu Ruyan's heart softened inexplicably. She snorted, thinking, now you know who's boss. That pitiful look just now was an embarrassment to the Liu family. Despite her thoughts, she reached out somewhat awkwardly to straighten your messy bow tie. If this happens again, tell Uncle Fu directly. Do you not have a mouth? If you're bullied, you report it. Her tone was still aggressive, but her touch was surprisingly gentle. You took the chance to rub against her palm. Because I knew Sister would protect me. Sister is the best sister in the world. As if burned, Liu Ruyan jerked her hand back. Stop flattering me. She stood up and feigned a cold face to hide her embarrassment. Who wants to protect you? I just don't want my private property damaged. She added, and since you're hungry, get to the kitchen. I want sweet and sour pork ribs, and they better be 100 times better than that trash in the bowl, or you can get out too. With that, she practically fled upstairs. Halfway up, she stopped and added without looking back, there are imported snacks in the kitchen. If you're starving, eat some first. Don't misunderstand. I'm just afraid if you faint from hunger, no one will cook for me. Bang! The bedroom door on the 2nd floor slammed shut. You stood there, looking at the closed door. The innocent smile gradually faded, replaced by a successful, wicked grin. You slowly pulled out your notebook and thought, Tsundere Empress Liu Ruyan. Rage for a handsome man, cleaning house, protective, index, 5 stars. Typical, soft, hard mouth. Cliché, but it feels great. Seems like my status in her heart has upgraded from dog to pet. I'll put extra sugar in the ribs tonight, to sweeten her up. You tucked away the notebook and hummed into the kitchen. This easy life is getting better and better. However, you glanced at the shards of the broken bowl, your eyes turning slightly cold. You thought, the Liu family isn't a monolith. The waters of a rich family are indeed murky, but murky water is best for catching fish. You put on an apron and took a rack of top-tier pork ribs from the fridge. The game has only just begun. Half an hour later, an enticing aroma wafted from the kitchen. The sweet, sour, and charred scent of the ribs floated up to the 2nd floor. Liu Ruyan had just finished her shower and changed into a loose silk robe. Her wet hair draped over her shoulders. Without makeup, she looked less sharp and more pure, yet alluring. Smelling the aroma, her stomach growled betrayingly. She thought, this kid? Her eyes turned somewhat hazy. Did I really pick up a treasure? She picked up her phone to browse the news and distract herself, but as the screen lit up, a trending headline popped up. Mysterious billionaire keeps young boy. Liu heiress suspected of keeping a pet in a golden house. The accompanying photo was the back view of you and Uncle Fu sweeping the mall this afternoon. Even if it was just a silhouette, your upright posture and her signature black gold card had caused a sensation online. Liu Ruyan raised an eyebrow. Trending already? It seems Peiwuan, that woman who loves chaos, is going to start acting up again. Sure enough, the next second, Peiwuan's messages bombarded her. Liu Ruyan. Bestie, are you for real? Who is that kid? He maxed out your card. That silhouette looks familiar. Is it the one from the G family? If it's that top-tier little brat, make sure to save a bite for me. I want to play grooming too. Looking at the predatory messages, Liu Ruyan replied, keep dreaming. He's my cook and my private property. No chance of stealing him. Before she could send more, the aroma lured her down, and she lost interest in her phone. You were just walking out with the food. She glanced at the table. Despite her mouth watering, she said, I suppose it looks edible. Seeing her still being stubborn, you just set the food down and looked down. Sorry, sister. I know it's not great. I'll keep learning. TCH, you thought, disgust on the surface, but her mouth hasn't stopped. You stood aside and watched her act while continuously stuffing food into her mouth. Why are you standing there like a wooden post? Get over here and eat. Otherwise, people will think I'm abusing you. Seeing you unmoving, she tapped the table with her chopsticks. Okay, sister. You gave another sweet smile and ran back with your own bowl and chopsticks. She didn't mind you further, just saying, rest after eating, before heading back upstairs after a few bites. You replied sweetly, okay, get some rest, sister. Don't overwork yourself. Once she was gone, you whispered, complaining. But she almost finished it. Uncle Fu, seeing both were finished, signaled the maids to clear the table, afraid you'd try to snatch the work. You didn't fight for work. You thought, Liu Wuyan is gone, no way to farm favorability now. Better go back and plan how to be a little green tea. I mean, how to make her obsessed with me. A beautiful weekend. The golden time to sleep until you wake naturally on a 300 square meter bed and then tease the Sunder boss. Instead, a flashy Ferrari burst through the villa gates, performed an arrogant drift, and stopped by the fountain. The butterfly door opened, and a red-bottomed high heel hit the ground first, followed by a blindingly white, long leg. You were watering an orchid in the garden. Looking up, you thought, oh, who's this? What an entrance. A woman stepped out with wavy curls, sunglasses covering half her face, wearing a red and black tight-fitting dress. Her S-curve was practically challenging gravity. Peiwuan took off her glasses. Her soul-hooking eyes scanned the yard and locked onto you. They lit up instantly. Oh, is this the legendary little cutie? She tossed her glasses onto the car hood and charged over in her sky-high heels. That momentum, that surging presence, you instinctively shrunk back. You screamed internally. Who is this? She looks like the big bad wolf coming to eat a child. Before you could react, your feet left the ground. Peiwuan had picked you up directly. Oh my, let big sister see. She held you up high, getting very close. This little face, it's so tender, better than the idols on my film set. With that, she started pinching and kneading your cheeks. You struggled to speak. Let go of my face. Your face was squeezed out of shape as your hands flailed in the air. She ignored your resistance, finding your struggling adorable. She thought, the skin feels so smooth. After playing with your face, she pulled you into her embrace and planted a bright red kiss on your cheek. Then, your vision went black. The world disappeared, replaced by a soft, warm, and elastic ocean. A feeling of suffocation hit. You thought, is this the legendary cleansing milk? The quantity is too much. You flailed your short legs, trying to pull your head out for a breath of fresh air. You screamed in your heart, help! The easy life is good, but I don't want to die young. This is T1 tier power. Terrifying. Peiwuan didn't realize she was committing a crime. She just swayed you back and forth. So soft, so fragrant, feels so good to hold. She thought, Ruyan, that dead woman, is too stingy to hide a treasure like this. She muttered to herself, why don't you come home with me? Big sister has plenty of money. I have so many pretty dresses. Wait, duplicate thought removed. I mean, handsome clothes for you to wear. Just as you thought you'd faint from lack of oxygen, a cold voice came from the second-floor balcony. Peiwuan, if you don't let go, I'll make tomorrow's headline. Movie star Peiwuan arrested for child molestation. Peiwuan paused and finally loosened her grip. You took the chance to pull your head out, gasping for air, your face flushed red. You thought, almost. Just a little more and I'd be the first transmigrator in history to be smothered to death by a cleansing milk. Liu Luyan stood on the balcony with a cup of coffee, wearing a conservative silk nightgown, watching the two of them. What, feeling protective? Peiwuan raised an eyebrow. Ruyan, we're besties. Let me borrow this good seedling for a few days. My next movie needs a male lead's childhood actor. No, Liu Ruyan refused flatly. He's my cook. He has to make me dinner. Cook? Peiwuan's eyes went wide. You're letting this cute little brother be a cook? Liu Ruyan, are you even human? What a waste. She turned to you, her expression switching from empress to kidnapper. Little brother, don't stay with this cold woman. Come with big sister. I won't make you work. I'll take you out for the best food every day and let you sleep on the softest bed. Hiding behind Liu Ruyan, who had come down, you looked at Peiwuan's fox-like smile and then at Liu Ruyan's ice mountain face that said, if you agree, you're dead. You thought, is this the legendary crematorium scene? I really want to go with the wavy-haired sister. That cleansing milk was truly top tier. But Liu Ruyan is my long-term meal ticket. You blinked and suddenly called out sweetly, hello, Auntie. The air went silent. The smile on Peiwuan's face froze. Even Liu Ruyan was stunned for a second before her lips curled up. Auntie? Peiwuan pointed at her nose, her voice jumping an octave. What did you call me? Auntie. You looked innocent. You thought, I saw on TV that only elders have such a big heart. As you spoke, you made an exaggerated circular gesture in front of your chest. Liu Ruyan burst out laughing, while Peiwuan stomped her feet in rage. Ah, you're killing me. I'm only 24. 24! Who's your auntie? Call me big sister. You must call me big sister. Peiwuan lunged to teach you a lesson, but Liu Ruyan stepped in and blocked her. Enough. Liu Ruyan was in a great mood. A child's words are harmless. Besides, by seniority, you are a generation older. What's wrong with Auntie? Peiwuan held her chest. Fine, Liu Ruyan. You two are teaming up to bully me. We'll see about that. She glared at you. You little brat, just you wait. One day, I'll show you what an auntie's methods are. You shrunk your neck, feeling a chill. You quietly reached into your pocket and felt your familiar notebook. You pulled it out and began to record in front of both women. You wrote, Target, Entertainment Demoness Peiwuan. Event, used cleansing milk for a biochemical attack upon meeting, then attempted to kidnap a good boy. Figure, 10 out of 10. Personality, too wild. Danger level, SSSS, called her Auntie, gained hatred value plus 10086. Next time, remember to bring an oxygen tank, or I'll suffocate. After writing, you closed the notebook and gave her a bright smile, both obedient and pure, making her teeth itch with irritation, but her heart itch with interest. Ruyan, this kid is too interesting. Peiwuan licked her lips. I've decided. I'm staying here starting today. If I don't take this little thing down, my name isn't Pei. Liu Ruyan's face changed. Get out! I won't! Peiwuan pushed past her into the villa. Uncle Fu, get a guest room ready. I'm gonna stay with my big treasure. You watched her swaying back and then looked at Liu Ruyan's face, which was as black as a pot. You thought, great. One Sunder Empress was hard enough. Now there's a demoness from the Silk Cave. My future looks exhausting. You rubbed your cheek where it had been squeezed. A faint scent of roses remained. You grinned. Actually, more challenges like this wouldn't hurt. But before long, you wondered what sin you'd committed to deserve this. The living room had become a disaster zone. No, stop, absolutely not! You guarded your chest with both hands, huddled in the corner of the sofa like a woman about to be snatched by a bully. Across from you, Peiwuan held a black and white lace-made outfit, a human trafficker smile on her face. Oh, little baby, just try it on, she said, leaning toward you. Duplicate segment removed. Just once. She continued to close in. This is a limited edition piece of children's wear that I had flown in. Look at this lace and craftsmanship. It would look absolutely stunning on you, Peiwuan said, gesturing toward you with the maid outfit while waving a cat ear headband in her other hand. Look, it even has cat ears. If you put these on and call me master, big sister would give her life for you. You rolled your eyes in silence, nearly fainting from frustration. You thought, is this female hooligan actually insane? You're a real man, the kind with all the right parts. Forcing you into a maid outfit, is that a move any sane human would come up with? And lady, could you please back up a bit? Those buttons are practically about to explode. You might be young, but you aren't blind. You shook your head violently, your short legs kicking wildly in an attempt to push the crazy woman away. Auntie, I'm a boy. This is for girls. What's wrong with being a boy? Gender-neutral fashion is all the rage now, don't you know? Peiwuan ignored you entirely, grabbing your ankle to drag you over for a wardrobe change. You realized this woman's strength was terrifying. Is this the power of a Tier 1 gym fanatic? Just as you were preparing to defend your dignity to the death, a light chuckle came from the other end of the sofa. You saw Liu Ruyan holding a tablet and looking at financial reports, though she had been drawn in by the farce over here. She actually hadn't gone to the company today. She was wearing gray loungewear, her long hair pinned up casually, and she wore gold-rimmed glasses. She lacked her usual domineering aura, looking more like a refined yet forbidden intellectual. Liu Ruyan, control her. You immediately sought help from the only normal person in the house. If word of this embarrassing scene got out, what would happen to the Liu family's reputation? Liu Ruyan pushed up her glasses, her gaze falling on the maid outfit in Peiwuan's hands. A flash of anticipation actually flickered in her eyes. I think it's pretty good. Her tone was flat, yet full of the playfulness of someone enjoying a show at someone else's expense. Anyway, it's at home where no one can see. Honestly, this outfit suits you perfectly. No way! You thought, good grief, this woman really isn't a good person either. They're definitely in cahoots. It's a conspiracy. Liu Ruyan, you with your honest looks have betrayed me too. Last night's sweet and sour ribs were for nothing. Having received Liu Ruyan's permission, Peiwuan became even more unrestrained. Hear that? Your sister gave the word. She gave a strange cry and pinned you down on the sofa, her weight nearly suffocating you. Come on, baby, let Big Sister show you the door to a new world. Just as your integrity was about to be lost forever, and as you considered using combat arts to throw this demoness out, ding-ling-ling, you saw the phone Peiwuan had tossed onto the rug ringing incessantly. Her movements stiffened, and she let out a highly frustrated huff. She let go of you, giving your rear a lingering pat before picking up the phone. Hello, what is it? I'm busy giving the kid a psychological counseling session. You didn't know what was said on the other end, but Peiwuan's face instantly collapsed. What? Change the script? Again? Is that brain-dead screenwriter sick? I practiced that crying scene for 3 days. He changes it just like that? Let whoever wants to do it, do it. Peiwuan hung up the phone in a rage. She reflexively tossed the maid outfit aside. It landed perfectly on Uncle Fu's head just as he entered the door. You watched Uncle Fu standing there in a daze, wearing the cat ear headband while holding a fruit platter. Damn that Baldy Chen. He's killing me. Peiwuan flopped onto the rug, grabbing her script. She wanted to tear it, but couldn't bring herself to, so she resorted to violently throwing throw pillows instead. Liu Ruyan put down her tablet and raised an eyebrow. What? Did something go wrong with your award-contending, strong female lead drama again? Don't even get me started. Peiwuan rubbed her hair into a messy nest, transforming from a demoness into a madwoman in an instant. In the most crucial breakup scene, the screenwriter insists on changing the female lead into a White Lotus, who only knows how to cry, and she has to cry so pitifully that it moves everyone's hearts. Please, who am I? I'm Peiwuan. I've never cried in my life except when acting. How am I supposed to do this? I can't cry at all. She cursed while flipping through the script, pointing out a section for you to see. Look at these lines! How could you do this to me? My heart hurts so much. You felt like laughing just seeing those lines. And they wanted her to cry? Liu Ruyan took the script, scanned it, and curled her lip in a sneer. It really is brain dead. Suits you perfectly. Liu Ruyan, do you want to die? Peiwuan threw an apple at her. Without even looking up, Liu Ruyan caught the apple with one hand and took a bite. If you can't act, then don't. You've made enough money anyway. Going home to raise pigs wouldn't be bad either. As the two women began their daily bickering, you took the chance to slip out from the corner of the sofa, smoothing out your wrinkled clothes. You weren't in a hurry to escape. Instead, you slowly walked to Peiwuan's side and crouched down to pick up the scattered script pages. So this is the $300 million major production. This screenwriter probably hasn't even graduated from primary school. The logical flaws are bigger than Peiwuan's chest. You quickly skimmed the so-called breakup scene. The plot was simple. The female lead discovers her lover is the son of her foster father's killer and has been using her all along. The two confront each other on a rainy night, and she breaks down in tears. Cliché. Utterly banal. Hey kid, can you even understand that? Peiwuan was looking for a place to vent her anger. Seeing you pretending to read the script, she couldn't help but roll her eyes. There are no pictures, just words. Careful you don't break your brain. You ignored her. You stared at the lines, and the top-tier enlightenment in your mind instantly activated. Countless performance styles flashed through your head like a movie. 3 seconds later, you closed the script and tossed it back to her with disdain. The logic of these lines is wrong. You said, your childish voice carrying a surprisingly sophisticated tone. Peiwuan was stunned for a moment, then laughed in frustration. HMPH. You a little brat? Understand logic? Come on then, Teacher Pei. We'll give you a chance to say what's wrong. Liu Ruyan also stopped eating her apple, watching you with great interest, wondering what kind of trouble you were going to cook up this time. You brushed the dust off your hands, stood up straight, and pointed at the script. The setting for this lead is an imperial princess who wields power over the court. She grew up amid palace intrigue. A person like that has a heart harder than stone. Upon discovering a betrayal by her most loved one, her first reaction would never be to cry, and certainly not to ask some nonsense like, "How could you do this to me?" Peiwuan was taken aback. She felt you had a point. Then what should the reaction be? She asked instinctively. The corners of your mouth curled up into a wicked smile that didn't match your age. "Wanna know? Call me big brother, and I'll tell you." Thwack! Peiwuan flicked your forehead. "Trying to start a rebellion, are you? Hurry up and speak. If you speak well, you don't have to wear the maid outfit tonight. If you don't, I'll strip you and throw you into the yard." You rubbed your forehead, grimacing in pain. You thought, whoever marries this violent woman in the future is doomed, adding a mark to my grudge notebook. However, to avoid the fate of being stripped, you decided to show a bit of your skill. Watch closely, I'm only teaching this once. You took a deep breath. In that instant, your aura changed. The soft, cute little boy vanished. In his place was a suffocating sense of pressure. You raised your chin slightly, and your clear, large eyes lost all warmth. You just stared at Peiwuan quietly. There was no anger in your gaze, no sadness, not even hatred. Only a high and mighty indifference, as if Peiwuan were nothing but an ant in your eyes. The temperature in the living room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Liu Ruyan, who was munching on her apple, froze, her pupils contracting slightly. Peiwuan's scalp felt numb under that gaze. She instinctively backed away, her heart skipping a beat. What kind of gaze is this? Is this still that little kid who only knows how to act cute and ask for hugs? You spoke slowly. You didn't use the fragile, "How could you do this to me?" from the script. You simply let out a soft chuckle. The laughter was incredibly light, yet filled with irony and absurdity. So, you are just a commoner after all. Just a few words. No hysterics, no weeping, yet it perfectly portrayed the pride of a ruler, the disdain of the betrayed, and the pain suppressed deep within the heart. After finishing the line, your aura instantly retracted, and you reverted to a well-behaved little boy. You rubbed your flicked forehead and asked innocently, if she is an imperial princess, she should feel that the man is unworthy of her ambition at that moment. Why would she cry? Crying is for the weak. The strong only make others cry. Silence. The living room was deathly quiet. She looked at you as if looking at an alien monster. For a split second, she had actually been frightened. That kind of acting, that eye work, even the veteran actors with lifetime achievement awards in the industry were only at this level. This is a 10-year-old child? My God. Peiwuan swallowed hard and cursed under her breath. This isn't just the gods giving him a bowl of rice. This is the gods chasing him down to shove the whole rice bucket into his mouth. She suddenly lunged forward and grabbed your leg, her eyes as fanatical as a devotee. "You are my treasure! That feeling was so right. It was perfect. That's it. I want that exact feeling." How do you understand this so well? Are you a transmigrator too, or a reincarnation of some best actor? You pushed her face away with disdain. Let go. You're getting snot on my pants. Nonsense, you thought. Back in my past life in the business world, if my acting hadn't been good when dealing with those old foxes, I would have been swallowed whole. This level of emotional acting? Easy as pie. Liu Ruyan snapped back to her senses. She watched you being entangled by Peiwuan, her gaze becoming deep as she unconsciously toyed with the apple she had bitten. This kid really isn't simple. That gaze is definitely not the experience of a 10-year-old. It seems the investigation report saying he was ordinary is just a pile of scrap paper. Peiwuan, pull yourself together. Liao Ruyan's cold voice interrupted Peiwuan's madness. "Since the problem is solved, take your trashy clothes and get out of my living room." Peiwuan scrambled up, dusting herself off while excitedly sending a voice message to her director. "Old Wing! Change the script! Change it exactly as I say!" "No? If not, I'm withdrawing my investment." After sending the message, Peiwuan turned around, her eyes practically sparkling as they looked at you. "Little G, you really are my lucky star. Tell me, what reward do you want? As long as I have it, except for Liu Ruyan, that woman nobody wants, you can pick anything." Liu Ruyan's eyes sharpened. Your own eyes lit up. This was the moment you'd been waiting for. You pulled the notebook from your pocket, flipped to a new page, and scribbled a string of numbers. You tore it out and slapped it into Peiwuan's hand. "Cash out. This is my bank account number. Since I'm your acting consultant, charging by the hour isn't too much, is it? Those 5 minutes will cost you 500,000. Friends, discount price." Peiwuan's lip twitched as she looked at the note. 500,000? Why don't you just rob a bank? You blinked, looking innocent. "Sister, your acting fee is 80 million. I only want 500,000. This is more honest than a Pinduoduo discount. Besides," you pointed at the maid outfit on the floor. "If you don't pay, I'll tell the reporters that the best actress, Peiwuan, has a special fetish for forcing minors into maid costumes. Do you think that trending topic is worth 500,000? Where is the little puppy? This is clearly a little wolf who eats people without spitting out the bones, and a blackened, scheming one at that." Peiwuan grit her teeth and picked up her phone to transfer the money. "Fine, you win, just don't ever fall into my hands later." Ding! Your phone chimed. Your account has received 500,000.00 RMB. You looked at the numbers and smiled so wide your eyes narrowed into slits. You thought, this money is too easy to make. Truly, eating soft rice hard is the way to go. You tucked your phone away and waved at the two women. "Since the transaction is complete, I'm going back to my room. Oh, by the way, I want Australian lobster for dinner. Please have, Auntie Pei. Oh, sorry, Sister Pei. Tell Uncle Fu to prepare it." With that, you walked upstairs with an arrogant gait, leaving the two billionaire women in the living room staring at each other. "Liu Ruyan," Peiwuan pointed at your back with a complex expression. "If you can't keep this kid down, I'm afraid the Liu family will be renamed the Ji family soon." Liu Ruyan watched your small silhouette, a playful smile curving her lips. "Renamed Ji? We'll see if he has the skill to escape my palm." She picked up her phone and sent a message to her secretary. "Check every record of Jiba from his previous school. Also encrypt and back up all home security footage to my private email. Trying to play pig to eat the tiger with me? I've eaten more pigs than you've seen tigers. We'll see." In the second floor room, the smile vanished the moment you closed the door. You leaned against the door and panted slightly. That was close. I might have overacted a bit just now. Liu Ruyan's gaze definitely showed suspicion. However, looking at the balance on your phone and then at the luxurious courtyard outside, you thought, to establish a foothold in this world, acting cute isn't enough. I have to demonstrate value appropriately. That's the only way to make this easy life, stable. Only when they feel this potential stock is worth investing in, can I use their power to take back what belongs to me. You walked to the desk, turned on the top-spec Alienware computer, and skillfully typed in a string of code to enter a hidden, underground forum. Countless encrypted characters danced across the screen. You typed 2 words into the search bar. Liu family. You hit enter, and countless threads of information popped up instantly. Your gaze locked onto a thread marked in red, the true story behind the young master of the Ji family's runaway wedding years ago, the ghosts inside the Liu group. Your pupils contracted, and your fingers hovered over the keyboard. As expected, the waters of this rich family are deeper than I imagined. It seems I should find myself an ally. Just then, Peiwuan's muffled voice came from outside the door. "Little G, open up. Big sister bought you the latest game console. Let's play together, the kind where the loser has to take off a piece of clothing." Your lip twitched. This demoness just won't stop, will she? Wait, play games? Loser takes off clothing? You looked at your small, underdeveloped hands, then thought of Peiwuan's devilish figure. It seems... it's not impossible. Duplicate segment removed. Duplicate segment removed. After all, I'm an honest child. As they say, only a fool turns down a free advantage. You snapped the laptop shut, the innocent smile returning to your face. Coming, sister. This soft rice is so fragrant. 1 piece per loss. Sister Best Actress. You wouldn't want to be left in just your underwear, would you? The atmosphere in the gaming room was now so tense you could roast a sweet potato. On the massive 100-inch screen, 2 health bars were clashing. Take that! Die! Peiwuan sat cross-legged on a beanbag, completely devoid of her Best Actress image, pressing the controller buttons so hard sparks could have flown. She had a lollipop in her mouth, looking exactly like a delinquent girl pulling an all-nighter at a net cafe. Beside her, you were calm, even a little bored. Your small controller only moved with occasional light inputs. On the screen, the muscular male character performed a dodge that defied physics and countered with a silky smooth combo. The screen froze as Peiwuan's character, a scantily clad female fighter, cried out and fell flat on her back. No, how is that possible? She threw the controller onto the sofa and scratched her head in frustration, her wavy hair turning into a bird's nest. I'm the fighting game queen. How could I lose to a 10-year-old brat? You're cheating. The controller must be broken. You put your controller down and took a sip of fatty happiness water. Coke. Heh, foolish woman. I could pull off infinite combos in this ancient version of King of Fighters 97 with my eyes closed. Comparing reaction speeds with me? My brain is at a quantum computer level. You turned and looked at her with a smile, your eyes as pure as a rabbit's. Sister Pei, accept your defeat. We agreed, 1 piece of clothing per loss. You looked her up and down. For the sake of gaming comfort, she had tied the hem of her white shirt into a knot, revealing a dazzling sliver of her waist. Her equipment slots were running low. Her face stiffened. She looked down. If she lost again, she'd be down to her black lace underwear. Although she was uninhibited at home, doing this in front of Liu Ruyan was a bit... That's right. Liu Ruyan was sitting on a single sofa nearby, holding a freshly brewed cup of coffee. She was watching with a look that said, "Please, begin your performance." Ahem. Peiwuan's eyes darted around as she immediately tried to cheat. That game doesn't count. It's too old. It doesn't reflect my true skill level. Let's change the game. You raised an eyebrow. Is sister going back on her word? Who's going back on their word? Am I that kind of person? Peiwuan puffed out her chest righteously. I'm an actress. Let's compete in something professional. Weren't you quite the talker earlier critiquing my script? Fine, let's compete in acting. She scrambled up from the rug, barefoot on the floor, and snatched up the script from the corner. It was still the breakup scene. You only talked the talk earlier. Now for actual combat. I'll play the female lead, you play the male lead. If you can keep up with me, never mind taking off clothes. All of Big Sister's private savings will be yours to manage. Her inner calculator was clicking away. Heh, little brat. Those line analyses earlier were clever, but theory and practice are different. Acting is about emotional explosion. You stood up slowly and brushed the dust off your rear. Competing in acting? You asked for this. I only wanted to win a few pieces of clothing for fun. But if you're sending me money, don't blame me for a dimensional strike. Sure, you took the script, didn't even look at it, and tossed it aside. No need for the lines, I've memorized them. 10 out of 10 for the flex. Peiwuan was choked for words and rolled her eyes. Fine, when you can't cry, don't go calling for your mommy. Liu Ruyan adjusted her posture and took a sip of coffee, her cool eyes flashing with interest. Could this kid give her another surprise? Action! Peiwuan entered the role instantly. It had to be said, though she was a hooligan in daily life, her professional ability was tier-1. In a single second, all her laziness vanished. In its place was an aura of desperate brokenness. Barely held together by pride, she stared at you, her eyes reddening instantly, tears welling up but stubbornly refusing to fall. Why? That single question trembled with endless grievance and disbelief. The atmosphere in the room instantly became heavy. This was the pressure of a Best Actress. An average rookie actor would have forgotten their lines or started shaking in the face of such a performance. But you moved. Top-tier enlightenment loaded. Character template: the cold-hearted assassin who endures deep love and carries a blood feud, forced to push his lover away. You didn't speak. You simply put your hands in your pockets and leaned forward slightly. Your small, straight frame suddenly projected a sense of world-weary exhaustion. You looked up. Those eyes. Liu Ruyan's hand holding the coffee shook. Those were not the eyes of a 10-year-old. There was no light in them, only a bottomless darkness, like a dry well burying all love and hope. You just looked at Peiwuan, your lip twitching slightly as if you wanted to say something but forced yourself to swallow it. Finally, it turned into a cold smile that looked more painful than crying. Why? There is no why. Your voice was soft, yet it felt like a rusty, blunt saw slowly cutting into the heart. Su Cheng, the character's name. You were too naive. You took a step forward. That suffocating pressure made Peiwuan instinctively take half a step back, her heart constricting. She even forgot she was acting. She felt that the person standing before her wasn't you, but the man she loved and hated to her very core. You reached out as if to touch her face, but your hand stiffened in midair. Your small hand was trembling slightly. Even that tiny tremor of the fingertips was filled with restraint and struggle. Then, your gaze changed instantly. All the tenderness was frozen over, replaced by piercing malice and determination. You jerked your hand back and turned your back on her. Get out. This get out wasn't a hysterical roar, but a calm, death-like indifference that rang louder in the ears than any scream. Silence. Dead silence. The only thing left in the gaming room was the white mist from the humidifier drifting slowly. Clink. A crisp sound broke the silence. The coffee cup in Liu Ruyan's hand had tilted, and the hot black coffee spilled onto her six-figure handmade wool rug, even splashing a few drops onto her fair hand. But Liu Ruyan didn't react. She even forgot to feel the burn. Her usually calm eyes were fixed intently on your back, her pupils contracting sharply. This, she thought, this level of layering, this control over crushing emotions and releasing them bit by bit. Is he really only 10? As for the other participant, Peiwuan was completely stunned. Her mouth was open, tears still hanging on her lashes, looking like a statue struck by lightning. In that moment, she really felt the heartbreak. That sense of desperate abandonment was so real, it suffocated her. This wasn't acting. It was a soul possession. You turned around and exited the character in a second. That aura of weary despair vanished, and you reverted to a soft, cute little money grubber. You looked at the coffee Liu Ruyan had spilled with a pained expression. Oh, Sister Liu, this rug is very hard to wash. It's gonna cost a lot. This voice snapped the two women out of their shock. Peiwuan suddenly snapped out of it. She didn't care about wiping her tears, or that her white shirt collar was open a bit too wide. She let out a strange cry. She lunged forward. Jiba! You're a monster. She grabbed your shoulders with a force that felt like she wanted to knead you into her body. In this moment, there was no trace of her previous mockery, only fanaticism. It was like a woman who had been starving for 3 days suddenly seeing a royal feast. This look, these micro-expressions, this rhythm of the lines. The gods didn't just give him a bowl of rice. They chased him down and dumped the whole bucket on his head. Peiwuan was incoherent with excitement, pressing herself against you. The rose perfume made you sneeze. Baby, you're a genius. That turn, that pause of the finger, perfect, truly perfect. This is 100,000 times better than those so-called top-tier actors in the industry. Her eyes were glowing. Before, she saw you as a toy. Now, you were a living artistic treasure. No, no! She picked you up and turned to charge out. Come back to my room! We're rehearsing right now. No sleep tonight. I'm gonna record that part. I'm sending it to the director. I'm gonna make that bald screenwriter kneel while he changes the script for you. You nearly fainted from being smothered by her human cleansing milk hug. Lady, don't just go back to the room. I'm an artist. I don't sell my body. I mean, I only sell my skills. Besides, you lost just now and haven't taken off any clothes. Just as she was about to burst out of the room with you, a cold voice with unquestionable authority came from behind. Stop! Liu Ruyan pulled out a few tissues and elegantly wiped the coffee from her hand. She stood up and blocked the door. Even in loungewear, her aura instantly suppressed the manic Peiwuan. Put him down! Liao Ruyan stared coldly at her. What time is it? He has school tomorrow. And? Her gaze fell on your innocent face and her lips curled into a meaningful arc. He is a member of our Liu family. If you want to borrow him, you have to ask me if I agree first. Peiwuan wasn't happy and hugged you tighter. Liu Ruyan, don't give me that. This kind of talent being used as a cook in your house is a crime. I'm bringing him into the industry. I'm going to make him the youngest best actor. Liu Ruyan sneered and stepped forward, unceremoniously reaching out to snatch you back. Into the industry? To be treated like a monkey in that cesspool? Jiba, come here. She grabbed your wrist and pulled you behind her with even more protectiveness than before. That scene just now, this little guy is hiding more than just a few secrets. If a talent like this is led astray by this crazy woman Peiwuan, it would be my Liu family's loss. That's when you spoke up. I want to use my own pocket money to make an investment. Not much, just enough to replace that screenwriter who wants to write White Lotus characters. Peiwuan's eyes went wide. How much pocket money do you have? You held up one finger. 10 million, she guessed. You shook your head. You pulled a black bank card from your pocket, the supplementary card Liu Ruyan had given you. I have this card. And you pointed confidently to your head. A brain that can make this drama's box office grow tenfold. So, Sister Pei, want to make a deal? Let's play big. The air in the dining room froze for 2 seconds. Liu Ruyan's knife cutting her steak stopped in midair. Her gaze moved between the card and your face. Peiwuan's mouth formed an O, large enough to fit an egg. Using Liu Ruyan's money to invest in her sister's rival and helping Peiwuan make money, Liu Ruyan tossed her knife back onto the plate with a sharp clink. She leaned back in her chair, her smile making one's hair stand on end. Jiba, this empty-handed wolf skill of yours, were you born with it? You blinked your large eyes, playing the innocent card to the max. Sister Liu, this is called resource integration. Your money is just gathering dust in the bank. Might as well use it for investment. And think about it. If Sister Pei makes money, she won't have to ask you for pocket money anymore. It's a win-win. I really am a business genius. Use magic to defeat magic. Use the capitalist's money to make more money. And finally, let the real gold land in my pocket. Liu Ruyan snorted. Fine. I want 70% of the profit. This 10 million counts as a loan to you. Interest will be at the highest bank rate. Peiwuan exploded, jumping up and slamming the table. Liu Ruyan, you bloodsucker. Do you have any humanity left? You're even scamming a 10-year-old? 70%. Why don't you just rob a bank? I am robbing you, so what? Liu Ruyan raised an eyebrow. Don't like it? Give the card back. Peiwuan was instantly silenced. She could only turn and wail to you. Look at this evil woman! When we make money, don't give her a cent for her retirement. You calmly tucked the card into Peiwuan's hand. Deal. He. When the movie becomes a hit, I'll transfer the money to my offshore account. Then I'll just say we lost money. After all, I'm just a child. What can you do to me? Make me pay you back in dolls? During this moment of apparent harmony but hidden scheming, click! The electronic lock on the front door sounded. Then, a very specific scent drifted in through the foyer. It wasn't perfume, and it wasn't food. It was a sharp, pungent smell of disinfectant mixed with a strange, cold, medicinal scent. Peiwuan, who had been fighting with a lobster claw, instantly turned pale. That feeling made your heart drop. We're doomed. You watched as she dropped the lobster, frantically wiped her mouth with tissues and whispered, "The she-devil is back." You felt a wave of confusion. She-devil? Who else in this house, besides Liu Ruyan, could scare a crazy woman like Peiwuan into such a state? A woman appeared at the door, wearing a white lab coat and carrying a medical kit. Everyone is here, the woman said. Since you're all eating, that's good. Saves me the trouble of finding you one by one. She slammed the kit onto the dining table. The sound wasn't loud, but it made your eyelid twitch. Your intuition was screaming, "Danger! S second sister." You're back, Peiwuan said with a forced laugh, instinctively shrinking behind you. Finished work so early today? No need to, do overtime in the lab? The third sister, and Chi. pushed up her glasses, staring at Peiwuan with a smile. I was supposed to work late, but I heard we had an interesting little guest at home, so I came back early. Her gaze moved past Peiwuan and locked onto you with precision. There was neither kindness nor malice in her eyes, only the excitement of a researcher. "So this is the little master of the G family," Anqi said, while putting on medical rubber gloves. "I heard your physical constitution is good. You were even able to play games with Yuan." She walked straight to you and leaned down. "Little brother, this is our first meeting. My name is Anqi. I'm a doctor. You can call me Sister An or..." You swallowed nervously and decided to use the invincible cute act. You looked up, showing your dimples, your voice sweet enough to be cloying. "Hello, Sister An. Sister An, you're so pretty. Have you eaten, Sister An? This lobster is delicious. Let me peel one for you." This sugar-coated bullet always worked on Peiwuan, but sadly, Anqi seemed completely immune. The gentle smile on Anqi's face didn't change. She used a finger to lift your chin, turning your head left and right. Bone development is good. Pupil reaction is sharp. Skin luster is high. Truly a top-tier specimen. You screamed internally. "Lady, follow the rules. I'm a human. A living human. That look in your eyes isn't for a person. It's for a choice piece of pork." Anqi let go and opened the silver kit. You saw it was packed with colorful test tubes and syringes, even a few gleaming scalpels. "Since you've come to our home, we're family. As your sister, I don't have a proper welcoming gift." She took out a blue syringe and flicked it, squeezing out a drop of crystal-clear liquid. "This is the 8th version of my newly developed body-strengthening and brain-boosting fluid, although there were some minor side effects in mice, like excessive hair growth or temporary memory loss. You look much stronger than a mouse. Be a good boy and roll up your sleeve. After one shot, Sister guarantees you'll be a genius." You stared at the needle, which was as thick as a pinky finger, and pressed yourself against the back of the chair, clutching your chest. "You want to make me a genius at being a corpse." You let out a loud shout and chose to surrender. "I'm in great health. No shots. I'm already super smart, really. Sister Liu, help me." With a slip, you dove under the table and grabbed Liu Ruyan's leg for dear life. Liu Ruyan looked down at you, hugging her leg. A nearly imperceptible arc curled at the corner of her lips. "So, you actually have moments of fear? Where did that arrogant energy from earlier, the one you used to critique everything, disappear to?" "Ancha, put those messy things away." Liu Ruyan picked up a napkin to wipe her mouth. Her tone was flat but filled with an unquestionable authority. "He is here to pay a debt, not to be your lab rat. If you break him or turn him into an idiot, who pays that bill?" And she let out a regretful sigh. She put away the syringe, but her eyes continued to linger on you longingly. "What a pity. Such a perfect specimen. If only I could slice him up and draw some fluid for a test. I might be able to conquer several of the world's medical mysteries." Hiding under the table, you broke into a cold sweat. You were 100% certain. She just said, "Slice him up. This ghost of a place is unlivable. It's too dangerous. One wants you in a maid outfit. One wants to study you in slices. And the last one just wants to squeeze out your remaining value. You've decided. You're running away. Now." Immediately, Anqi pulled off her gloves and sat elegantly at the dining table, instantly reverting to a gentle, intellectual demeanor, as if the person holding the syringe just now wasn't her. She poured herself a glass of red wine and swirled it gently. "Since Big Sister has spoken, I'll let it go. However..." Anqi took a sip of wine, her gaze darting toward you under the table. "Sister noticed your face is a bit flushed, and there are faint dark circles under your eyes. Those are typical symptoms of deficient qi. At such a young age, you need to know how to take care of yourself. Remember to come to my room tonight. Sister will give you a full physical examination. I promise no needles, just a simple bone-reading massage. Sister's technique is ancestral and very professional." Beside you, Peiwuan winked desperately. "Don't you dare go. If you go, your life is forfeit. Last time I just went to her for a stiff neck and she nearly dismantled and reassembled me." You poked half your head out from under the table, your face full of wariness. "I'm not going. My body is perfectly fine and functions powerfully. Besides, men and women should maintain distance." The smile on Anqi's face grew even wider. It doesn't matter. In a doctor's eyes, there are only organs, no genders. Furthermore, don't you want to live comfortably in this house? Offend big sister, and your financial path is cut. Offend third sister, and you can forget about acting. But if you offend me... And she licked a wine stain from her lip, her voice low and alluring. If you get sick in the future, no one will be there to treat you. Or rather, I'll prescribe you some very, very bitter medicine. The kind so bitter it makes you mute. A threat. A blatant threat. You thought, is this the legendary smiling tiger? Is this the level of a top-tier white-cut black antagonist? You grit your teeth in frustration. This woman was leagues above a silly sweet like Peiwuan. She was a tough nut to crack. It seemed acting cute wouldn't cut it anymore. You had to show some real skill to let her know you weren't someone to be trifled with. You took a deep breath. Top-tier enlightenment. Activate. Scanning target. Anchi profession. Medical doctor / secret research lab head. Analyzing weaknesses. 3 seconds later, you crawled out from under the table and calmly dusted off your knees. You no longer dodged. You walked straight to Anchi, pulled out a chair, and sat down grandly. You took a clean glass, filled it to the brim with orange juice, and then, mimicking Anchi, gently swirled the liquid. Sister Anne, actually, I know a bit about medicine too. I noticed that when you walked just now, your left foot landed 0.3 seconds lighter than your right. You were injured during an experiment before, weren't you? There's fluid in your ankle. Also, though you smile gently, that faint vertical line between your brows betrays you. It means you suffer from frequent migraines. And it's a neurological headache that medicine can't relieve. Does your temple feel like it's being stabbed by needles every time it rains? The hand Anchi was using to swirl her glass froze. For the first time, the smile on her face showed a crack. Her eyes, previously indifferent, instantly became sharp as she locked onto you, repeated for emphasis in the original text. These were her old ailments, extremely private matters. Aside from Liu Ruyan, even Peiwuan didn't know. How could this little kid, who hadn't been in the house for even a day, see it at a glance? Continue. Anchi put down her glass and leaned forward slightly. This time, the way she looked at you was no longer as a lab rat, but as a rival. The corners of your mouth tilted up into a smirk of complete control. I can not only see it, I can cure it. How about it? Sister Anne, how about we make a deal? I'll cure your headache, and you modify that brain-boosting fluid formula for me. Remove the side effects and turn it into a real strengthening agent. I think that should be much more interesting than slicing me up for research, right? All three sisters were stunned. The atmosphere in the dining room shifted from a tense business negotiation to a horrific biohazard scene. Anchi's face changed faster than flipping a book. Moments ago, she was a mad scientist ready to dissect you, but after hearing your professional analysis, not just bluffing, her gaze shifted immediately. It was a mix of finding a kindred spirit and discovering a high-level experimental subject. Deal. Anchi downed the red wine in her glass in one go, a movement as bold as someone chugging a bottle of spirits. She licked her lips, her smile still gentle but bone-chillingly terrifying. As long as you cure my headache. Forget the formula. I'll give you the whole lab to play with. However, Anchi's tone shifted as her white-gloved hand reached for the silver kit. Since we are partners, a physical exam is a must. Don't worry, I won't slice you up this time, just 1 vial of blood. That's not too much to ask, right? Looking at the cold, gleaming needle in Anchi's hand, your lip twitched. You screamed internally, "Lady, you call this not too much?" With 1 vial, your 10-year-old body would probably become anemic on the spot, and that look in your eyes clearly says, you want to see if my blood is blue. Just as you were about to try acting cute again, Liu Ruyan, who had been silent, suddenly spoke. Draw it. Liu Ruyan wiped her lips with a napkin, her tone as casual as if she were discussing dinner. I also want to know exactly what condition this body was in when the G family threw you out. If there are potential issues, it's better to fix them early so they don't cause trouble in my house. Although her words were harsh, you could tell, this Empress sister actually wanted to give you a comprehensive checkup. Fine. The boss has spoken. It seemed the blood sacrifice was inevitable. You sighed and put on the expression of a heroic martyr, extending your small arm. Come on then, Sister Anne. You have to be gentle. I'm afraid of pain. Peiwuan watched nervously. covering her eyes but peeking through the gaps in her fingers. "Second sister, keep your hand steady, don't blow the vein." "Shut up," Anqi snapped without looking back. She skillfully produced a tourniquet, tied it tightly around your upper arm, and wiped your elbow crease with a cotton ball. The cold sensation gave you goosebumps. Anqi adjusted her glasses, staring at the thin vein with a hint of fanaticism in her eyes. "Good elasticity. Ready, my little darling?" The sound of the needle-piercing skin seemed exceptionally clear in the silent room. Peiwuan gasped in fear, as if the needle were going into her own skin. However, as the person involved, you didn't even move an eyebrow. You even complained internally. "Doesn't hurt nearly as much as that clumsy nurse in my past life." Back when you were fighting for territory and got slashed 3 times, you could still laugh. This tiny pain was just an itch. You calmly watched the red liquid flow through the tube into the collection bottle, your expression as bored as if you were watching a dull cartoon. In Anqi's eyes, which were usually filled with a fake smile, a trace of genuine surprise finally surfaced. She asked tentatively, "Normally a 10-year-old would at least flinch when they see a needle this thick. Does he not feel pain? Is this child's nervous system broken? Or does he have a pain disorder?" "It tickles a bit," you answered honestly, and Anqi's brow furrowed. "This reaction is wrong. Very wrong." As a doctor, her professional habits kicked in. "I noticed your veins are a bit deep, and the subcutaneous tissue felt a bit firm when I inserted the needle." "Let me see," Anqi said, reaching to undo the tourniquet. "Let's roll the sleeve up a bit more. I want to check the lymphatic drainage." Without waiting for your consent, Anqi went right in and pushed your oversized t-shirt sleeve all the way to your shoulder. Zip! The sleeve was pushed up, exposing your entire arm under the bright light of the crystal chandelier. In the next second, clack! The sample bottle in Anqi's hand nearly hit the floor. Luckily, her reflexes were fast enough to catch it. But she froze in place as if someone had hit the pause button, staring intently at your arm. Peiwuan, who had been shouting about how scary it was, went silent. A gurgling sound came from her throat, as if she were being choked. Even Liu Ruyan, who had maintained a cold, detached posture, suddenly gripped the tablecloth so hard her knuckles turned white. The hands that handled $10 billion contracts without a tremor were now shaking. Because on that arm, which should have been fair and soft, the arm of a 10-year-old, there wasn't a single patch of healthy skin. It was covered in scars, new, scabbed over, and faded. They were dense, like an ugly spiderweb crawling over the thin limb. Near the shoulder was a circular, dark red scar. That was a cigarette burn. Further down, several long, straight marks. Though the swelling was gone, you could still see the dark discoloration left by belt lashes. There were even crescent-shaped scars that looked like they had been gouged out by fingernails, deep enough to leave indentations. This went beyond abuse. It was torture. A deathly silence filled the dining room. The air felt as heavy as concrete, making it hard to breathe. You looked down at your arm and thought, "Oops, careless." The original owner of this body was nothing more than a punching bag in the G family. The stepmother would poke him with needles for no reason. The cheap father would whip him with a belt when drunk. Even the servants dared to pinch him on the sly. I almost forgot about this myself. You felt no waves in your heart, even thinking this was a great opportunity to play the pity card. But before you could start performing, the G family did this? Peiwuan's voice was trembling. Not the acting kind of tremble. She was truly shaking with rage. Her beautiful eyes were now filled with bloodshot veins. Tears fell instantly. "The G family did this?" repeated in text. "Those pigs, how could they lay a hand on him? Is he even their own flesh and blood? This is what you do to an enemy." Peiwuan lunged forward, wanting to hug you but afraid of touching your wounds. Her hands hovered in the air, trembling. "Baby, does it hurt?" Sob. "It must have hurt so much. I'm going to kill them. I'm going to burn that G villa to the ground right now." Peiwuan pulled out her phone while crying, looking like she was actually about to call people to go brawling. Anqi didn't speak. Her gentle mask had shattered completely, replaced by a bone-chilling coldness. She reached out a finger and lightly touched the cigarette burn. Her fingertip was ice cold. This is a 3rd-degree burn. It wasn't treated at the time. It probably even festered. These are soft tissue bruises from a blunt object. They healed poorly. There's internal scarring. And Chi's voice grew lower and lower, and the atmosphere grew colder with every word. Finally, she looked up at you. Her gaze no longer held playfulness or curiosity, only a desire to destroy. Little guy, you were wrong earlier. You said you know medicine, but some diseases cannot be cured by medicine. You need... And she picked up a scalpel from the table and spun it between her fingers. A chilling flash of steel. Tell me, who burned you? Sister will go and peel the skin off them to make a leather sofa for you, okay? You swallowed hard. You thought, gosh, this woman is serious. While it was satisfying, you wondered, lady, this is a society of law. Can we not jump to skinning people every time? It's okay, Sister Anne. You pulled your sleeve down to cover the scars. You put on your signature innocent smile, even turning to comfort the two women on the verge of a breakdown. It's all in the past. The belt marks. Dad whipped me when he was drunk. It really hurt back then, but I learned to be smart later. When they hit me, I'd think about other things, like what I'd eat for dinner. If I thought about it enough, it didn't hurt anymore. You spoke casually, as if talking about a scraped knee from a fall yesterday. But those words were like a barbed knife stabbing into the hearts of those three women. This child. What did he have to go through to speak of such a hellish life so lightly? Repeated in text. Liu Ruyan, who hadn't spoken, stood up. Her chair made a harsh scraping sound on the floor. She walked to you and looked down. You thought the Empress was going to give a lecture or express disgust at the scars? Instead, Liu Ruyan leaned down. Her hands, which never touched common work, gently straightened your collar. Her movements were softer than they had ever been. From now on, Liu Ruyan's voice was cold, but this time, the coldness wasn't directed at you. In this house, no one dares to touch a single hair on your head. If anyone touches you, I'll break their hands. With that, she turned, picked up her phone from the table, and dialed a number. It was answered in a second. Liu Nian, it's late. What are your instructions? Liu Ruyan walked to the floor-to-ceiling window, looking at the dark night, her tone icy. Notify the legal and finance departments. Tomorrow morning, before the market opens, I want every piece of negative news about the G Group to be at the top of the trending topics. Also stop all collaborative projects with the G family. Send the debt collection letters right now. Tell the banks that anyone who dares lend to the G family is making an enemy of Liu Ruyan. The assistant on the other end nearly fell over. Liu Nian, this is all-out war. What is this for? Liu Ruyan looked back at you, being hugged and cried over by Peiwuan while being fed candy by a grim-faced Anqi for cleaning up trash. Hanging up, Liu Ruyan tossed the phone onto the sofa and looked at you. This is just the interest. Little guy, since you call me sister, I'll take on your grudges. You looked at these three women, one crying a river, one smiling like a homicidal nurse, and one exerting dominance to crush a corporation. You silently lit a candle for the G family in your heart. You idiots. You probably don't know that you didn't just throw out a max-level account like it was trash. The key is, you also gave him 3 of the strongest power levelers on the server. How are you going to win this high-stakes game? Just then, a buzzing vibration came from your old, tattered backpack in the corner. It was your old person phone with a cracked screen. Peiwuan was quick. She snatched it out. 2 words flashed on the screen. Father. Seeing those words, the flames in Peiwuan's eyes shot up. Good. I was just looking for a punching bag. This old bastard delivered himself right to us. Peiwuan sneered and pressed the speakerphone button. A middle-aged man's exasperated roar came from the other end. Little pig, are you dead yet at the Leo house? If you aren't, get your ass back here. Your runaway brother actually took the company seal with him. Go to that Liu Ruyan woman right now and steal the dowry money back, or else I'll break your legs. The entire dining room fell into deathly silence once again. I just thought of 100 insults without using swear words to greet his ancestors, Peiwuan said, stomping her feet in rage. Wasting words on trash like that is beneath us. Liu Ruyan tossed a used napkin into the trash, her voice cold enough to drop ice shards. Since he wants to die so badly, let's fulfill his wish. Tomorrow morning, I don't want to see the G Group's stock price exceed 1 yuan. She turned to you, who was sitting obediently in the chair. You were blinking your large eyes with an innocent, "Who am I? Where am I?" look, still clutching an empty oral fluid bottle. Beautifully done. Liu Nian is mighty and domineering. That old guy is probably still jumping around on the other end. Hee hee. Killing him off is a service to the public. Your internal mini-me was clapping, but on the outside you looked terrified. Sister Liu, Did I cause trouble for you? Dad, he has a bad temper. If I don't listen, he really will break my legs. You shrank your neck and instinctively touched your left foot. This tiny movement was accurately captured by the three women, repeated in text. And she adjusted her glasses, her dissecting aura retracting instantly, replaced by a professional medical calmness, except that beneath the calm, a fire was burning. Go sit on the sofa. And she lifted the silver case and gestured toward the living room with her chin. Take off your shirt and roll up your pants. Since you are my designated experimental patient, I won't allow a single flaw on this body. You obeyed. A golden opportunity for pity. I mean, to win sympathy. Must grab it. You pulled off the ill-fitting t-shirt, revealing your scrawny upper body, and rolled up your pant legs. Your pale skin was bruised and scarred, like a piece of porcelain that had been shattered and lazily glued back together. Seeing this, Peiwuan's tears burst out again. Sob those bastards! This is too tragic. This is child abuse. I'm calling the police. Forgetting her lady image, she sat on the rug, wanting to touch your wounds but afraid to, sobbing into her tissues. And she put on her gloves and took out antiseptic and iodine. Her movements were incredibly gentle, a complete turnaround from the she-devil who had threatened you with needles. This bruise is new. And she lightly pressed a cotton swab against a purple mark on your back. Does it hurt? You shook your head. It doesn't hurt. It really doesn't, Sister Anne. You looked up and gave a smile that was bright enough to break anyone's heart. When Big Brother was in a bad mood, he'd use me for boxing practice. He said I was the extra one in the family, a jinx. He said as long as he beat me once, his bad luck would go away. Later, I got used to it. As long as I didn't make a sound, he'd get bored and stop. You said it casually, as if Big Brother had just stolen your candy. You thought, I'm a genius screenwriter. While that cheap brother had hit you, he mostly treated you like air. But for the sake of the artistic effect right now, a little embellishment wasn't too much, right? After all, that guy ran off with the money and left you here to pay his debt. And Chi's hand paused. A chilling light flashed in her eyes. Boxing practice? She let out a cold laugh and tossed the blood-stained cotton ball into the tray. Very good. It seems the eldest master of the G family has a good physique. My lab just happens to be missing a durable living specimen. I'll let him experience what real human mechanics is. Hearing those sinister words made your spine chill. You silently lit a candle for that brother you'd never met. Brother, have a safe journey. Being targeted by a high IQ psycho like Second Sister means you're finished. Liu Ruyan had been standing nearby without speaking. She crossed her arms, looking down at the shocking scars on your body. As the most powerful woman in the city, she was used to business intrigue and the sordid affairs of rich families. But treating one's own son like this was rare. Moreover, this kid was nominally her man now. If you beat the dog, you must look at the master. The G family was slapping her face. Little guy, Liu Ruyan spoke suddenly. Her voice not loud, but filled with authority. From today on, forget your so-called home. Since you entered this door, as long as you don't seek death yourself, the Liu family will ensure your life is worry-free. As for what the G family owes you, Liu Ruyan curled her lip in a cruel arc. I will make them vomit it back 100-fold. No, 1,000-fold. You were overjoyed. This gold leg is a solid catch. The Empress had spoken. Now you could walk through the city with your head held high. After treating the wounds, the freshly prepared dishes were brought out. Having learned of your past, the three sisters had lost their urge to dissect or slice you. Instead, they moved into a state of manic feeding. Come, eat this abalone, it's good for the body. Peiwuan stuffed a large abalone into your bowl. This wagyu is good too. It melts in your mouth. Eat more. And this caviar, it's a bit fishy, but it's expensive. You must eat it. Looking at the mountain of food in your bowl, your lip twitched. Is this a bit much? You're here to pay a debt, not to be raised like a pig. If you kept eating, you'd become a 200-pound fat guy. Would they still love you then? And she didn't give you meat or fish. She took out an exquisite porcelain bottle and poured out a black pill. Eat this. This is my specially made foundation strengthening pill. Though the taste is a bit strange, it's very good for your body. And she smiled at you playfully, especially regarding your masculine energy. I see signs of deficiency at your young age. That won't do. She leaned into your ear, her voice so low only the two of you could hear. When you grow up, we sisters are counting on your efforts. If you're broken now, what a waste. You nearly spat out the abalone. Second sister, what kind of wild words are those? I'm 10. 10. You thought, is she flirting? She definitely is. You felt like the wheels of her metaphorical car were rolling over your face. Blushing, you swallowed the pill. Bitter! It was so bitter your face wrinkled up. And she laughed even harder, reaching out to rub your head. Good medicine is bitter. You have to eat it to be strong. That way, no matter how sister tosses you, examines you, you'll be able to handle it. This meal was a mix of pain and pleasure. On one hand, you were being served by 3 peerless beauties. On the other, you had to endure their teasing. After dinner, a brief family meeting was held. The topic, the ownership rights to this child. I think he should sleep with me. Peiwuan raised her hand first, acting righteous. I'm still missing a body pillow. Plus, I can take him gaming, binge-watch shows with him, and teach him how to navigate the industry. Most importantly, I'm gentle. I'm not like some people who always want to use needles. Anchi, who was wiping her scalpel, looked up and gave her a half smile. Gentle? Who was it last time who lost a game and smashed the controller? That kind of violent tendency will scare a child. Anchi turned to you, her eyes soft. Come with me. I'm a doctor. I can monitor your condition at any time. Plus, I have lots of fun things at my place. Little G will love them. You shook your head violently. Not interested. Definitely not. Even the iceberg CEO wasn't an option, you thought. Lu Rian looked at the small hand clutching her sleeve and was silent for 3 seconds. The rug won't do. That's where my Persian cat sleeps. Her gaze shifted. Just as you were about to let go and go shower, Lu Rian stood up and walked toward the stairs. She stopped after 2 steps and turned her head slightly. Wash up well. I have a cleanliness fetish. Tonight, sleep in my room. Silence. Absolute silence. Peiwuan's jaw hit the floor, and she stopped wiping her blade. Wait, I just wanted to crash on the sofa or a floor mat. You thought, you're letting me straight onto the bed? Empress, you're not following the script at all. Peiwuan was the first to react, letting out a scream. Liu! He's only 10. You won't even let a 10-year-old go? I'll fight you for him. Liu Ruyan stood on the stairs looking down at the fuming Peiwuan, a faint sneer on her lips. What? You have an objection? Repeated in text. Then she looked at you, still dazed. Aren't you coming? Are you waiting for me to carry you? You jerked into motion and ran to catch up. Coming! Passing Peiwuan, you didn't forget to give her a sympathetic look. Sister Pei, I'm really sorry. Although I also really want you as my human pillow. This is Liu Ruyan's dragon bed. The peak of power. As long as I can lie on this bed, I'll be second only to one in this house. Pattering behind her in your slippers, you suddenly felt that this soft rice wasn't so hard to swallow. It actually tasted pretty good. In the morning, you were woken by a rich scent. Not food, the scent of gold. You woke up sprawled on the mattress. The spot next to you was already empty, leaving behind only a faint, cool fragrance. Sigh. Another day of forced business. Last night, though you successfully got onto the bed, you paid a price. The woman was a very quiet sleeper, remaining motionless all night, making you afraid to move, too. You rubbed your eyes, climbed out of bed, and walked downstairs after washing up. In the dining room, the 3 sisters were already seated. Seeing you, Peiwuan immediately made a sarcastic huff. Oh, our young master is finally awake. Did you sleep well last night? Was Lunian's bed soft and fragrant? Unlike me, who could only sleep alone, crying into my doll, you instantly switched to best actor mode, running over on your short legs and hugging her leg. Good morning, Sister Pei. I missed you so much last night I couldn't sleep. My dreams were full of you buying me candy. Peiwuan instantly broke character, pinching your cheek. At least you have a conscience. This afternoon, Sister will take you to buy Legos. Ahem. A light cough interrupted the sibling moment. Liu Ruyan put down her tablet and tapped her knuckles against the marble table. Eat. After breakfast, we have business. Your heart skipped a beat. Business? Is she taking me to divide the family assets? Or are the G family people already kneeling at the door? 10 minutes later, looking at the middle-aged man with a receding hairline and a serious expression in the living room, you felt numb. This is Professor Wang. Liu Ruyang crossed her legs elegantly. The top private tutor in the city. Since you've entered the Liu family, you cannot be an illiterate. From today on, morning is for academic catch-up, and afternoon is for physical training. You nearly spat out your milk. Sister Liu, you tried a final struggle. I think maybe I can self-study? Objection overruled. Liu Ruyan didn't even look up. Professor Wang, you may begin. Let's test the waters. I want to see this child's level. Professor Wang pulled a thick stack of test papers from his briefcase. He looked less like a teacher and more like someone here to seize assets. Young Master Jiba, is it? I heard you didn't receive formal education in the Ji family. It's okay. I'm not afraid of a stupid student, as long as you're willing to learn. First, do this paper. It's an entrance exam I designed specifically for elite primary schools. It covers language, math, and English. You have 1 hour. Looking at the densely printed paper, you were speechless. Isn't this an insult to my intelligence? Even the dog downstairs could solve these in its head, but you couldn't look too smart. If you got a perfect score instantly, these 3 sisters would get suspicious. You had to act, and act well. You had to look like someone who had a poor foundation, but extraordinary brain pathways. Someone gifted. You had to make Liu Ruyan feel her money was well spent, without making them think you were a monster. Professor Wang was initially sipping tea leisurely, his gaze indifferent. He'd seen plenty of abandoned sons of rich families. Most were empty shells who could barely read. However, when his peripheral vision caught your scratch paper, he blinked, then blinked again. Then he lunged forward, his face almost touching your pen tip. This is... His voice began to tremble. There, below a simple 3+2 question, you had written a string of complex symbols, actually using set theory and piano axioms to prove a variation of why $1 plus 1 equals $2. Peiwuan looked on in confusion and whispered, "What's wrong, Professor? What is he writing? Did he get it wrong? It looks like chicken scratch to me." You stopped writing, bit the end of your pen, and looked up at the professor with an innocent face. "Teacher, this question is so hard. I thought about it for a long time, and I calculated it to be 4.9999999. Did I get it wrong?" Paft! Liu Ruyan nearly choked on the coffee she had just sipped. Professor Wang's reaction was even more exaggerated. He took off his glasses, wiped them frantically with his sleeve, put them back on, and stared fixedly at that 4.9999999.